Of course, it's only 5 after 10.
It's 10 o'clock and it's time for the council meeting session. We have Ms. Galanter, Ms. Misikowski. We have 3 members and we need 7 more for a quorum.
Hi, Harry. Fine.
But they're making me nervous. We don't like food. Around with ITA, somebody they're going. This is an original, and they do my ever popular.
It's 20 minutes after 10. We have Mr. Alatorre, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhr, Ms. Galanter, Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Misikowski, Mrs. Walters. We have 8 members present. We need 2 for a quorum. Sergeant, would you go get the 2 members because we have a big crowd in here today. We want to get started with this meeting.
Flip the screen. Would the council come to order, please? Would you please take your seats? Call the roll. Alatorre, Burnson, Chick, Fuhr, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley, Thomas, Swarnich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro. 10 members present in the quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, Sergeant, would you see if you can get some order in the council chamber? This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 12th day of May, 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Wax moves, Ms. Galanter seconds. There's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item,
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
there are no objections, unanimous vote. Next item,
Before beginning the regular agenda, Mr. President, you have one item to continue. Item number 7, the applicant has requested to be continued to May 14th.
item number 7, continue until May 14th.
Yes, Mr. President.
There's no objection, unanimous vote.
Made over till it's over.
That's
Mr.
the only one?
President?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Galanter?
Mr. President, I'd like to ask that we take item 9 out of order. We have quite a large number of people here, and some of them need to get back to work.
You have a couple confirmations of city officials.
Yeah, we have some confirmation of the city officials. Let's do those, but I do have a request from Ms. Goldberg to hold item 9, 10, and 32 until she got here, but
Well, I think that this is going to be, this will take, she's supposed to be here at 11 o'clock, I believe.
Yes.
And I think this is going to take at least until then, but at least, we'll at least gotten the public comment period dealt with by that time.
okay, well, let's do the confirmation of this. Commissioners first.
Items 16 and 17 are both confirmations to the LA County Health Facilities Authority Commission. Peter Dutrove for the new term ending January 2nd, 2003, and Young Tai Lee for the new term ending January 2nd,
Are
2001.
they here? Are they here? What numbers are those?
Items 16 and 17.
Peter Devereaux and Mr. Lee.
See Peter here.
Peter's on the Police Commission, I know,
No, these are both reconfirmations. These-
reconfirmation? Okay. Mr. Fuhr moves that
Yes.
the 16 and 17 be approved. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Item number 18, confirmation of Javier Ortiz to the CRA Board for the term ending November 4th, 2002.
Is Javier Lopez here? Yeah. This is a new appointment? We're going to confirm you, and then you can sit on the board today.
I received them late yesterday.
Okay, you sound like a very honest man. Okay, Mr. Savornich?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Mr. Lopez was before the committee, however, as our council parliamentarian, Mr. Watts, stated, oops, easy mistake to make. There was not a quorum in the HCR committee, and I do believe a public hearing is necessary, Mr. President, but in addition to the public hearing, I stand to thank Mr. Lopez for wanting to serve on the CRA Board of Commissioners. We find him very well qualified, and I think that he would do a tremendous job on the Redevelopment Agency Board of Commissioners, and would ask for an aye vote after the public hearing.
Okay, Howard Watts?
Thank you, John. I want you to know that we need a change on the CRA board, and that is the consolidation issue of going to the redevelopment, to the housing and economic development committees on that consolidation issue. I'd like to know whether this is going to affect this appointment or any other appointment to the CRA board, and is there a possibility that we don't need a liberal Democrat, which I found in the background of this gentleman. I guess it's all Hispanics are all Democrats. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I am very glad to find that he's taking Chris Cecil's place instead of, but I wonder if the mayor is going to have him be the chair and take Peggy Moore's place as the chair right now.
Don't speculate on what's going to happen or not going to happen, Mr.
That's free
Watts.
speech, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Wait a minute, sir. I'm not done yet. It's obvious that we need to get something done, and we did have a lease to 354 South Spring for 10 years. Now, is this gentleman going to be here until 2002, or is it a possibility that the consolidation will occur? That means the CRA will be smaller, and possibly a special committee will be appointed by the mayor to take care of the 9-member team that the consolidation issue talked about. Mr. Ortiz, I hope you take Peggy Moore's place. We don't want her as a chair. Thank you.
The public hearing is closed. And for any further discussion, if not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
Mr. Lopez, you've been approved. We want to thank you for serving. We'll send that forthwith, as we will also send the other ones forthwith.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President. I'd like to thank Councilman Savornich also and the entire City Council. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item.
Mr. President, do you want to take up item number 9?
Ms. Galanter, I want to point out that there are a lot of people that want to be heard. I know we've had public hearings after public hearings on this, and so
May I suggest, Mr. President, that we start with a staff report? We have had many public hearings on the Playa Vista project. The specific items that are before the council today were considered by 2 committees on Monday in a lengthy hearing, and the results of that committee hearing are technically what's before us today on item number 9. We also have item number 10, which is related but different, and I'd suggest that we I guess we have to take both of them at the same time. But in either case, I think before we have any kind of a hearing, it would be appropriate to hear from the staff.
No,
Jerry Miller with this.
I mentioned the fact that Ms. Goldberg wanted us to continue, but...
Right, but I'd like
until
us
she
to
got
move
here.
ahead, so...
Okay, Jerry?
Jerry Miller with the CLA's office. There are two items before you today. 9 is the approval of the jobs incentive agreement. 10 is approval of the resolution of intention for the Mello-Roos. On the jobs incentive agreement, in December of '95, the council adopted in concept an incentive package and instructed the CAO and the CLA and the city attorney to negotiate the agreement and bring it back. That is what's before you today. Essentially, it's the same concept as the jobs agreement approved for the arena. It would provide credits against business and utility taxes for jobs generated at the Playa Vista site. The basic credit amount would be $2,700. That amount would be discounted to $2,100 for Playa Vista jobs, recognizing that some of those would be relocated rather than new, and also $1,700 for soundstage jobs, which are, of course, not working all year long. There are also incentives to hire within the city, as well as to create quality jobs by based on the salary level.
Could we have some quiet in the council chamber? Please, Mr. Hernandez, quiet. Yeah. Go ahead.
The jobs agreement, the benefits are capped at $35 million. Additionally, the developers will be provided with an $8 million credit against 50% of developer fees. They would not receive any payments from job benefits until they've generated enough jobs and paid enough in taxes to burn off the $8 million credit. Now, in the joint committee meeting on Monday, there were several amendments that were made to the item that was before them, and Patty Tubert with the city attorney is here to explain those changes.
Okay. Did you want to say something, Patty?
Yes, good morning. Patricia Tubert, Senior Assistant City Attorney, and Amy Forbes, our Special Counsel on this. Ms. Forbes and I put together a report that should be before each of you. We took a look at the contract as well as our notes from the committee meeting and the tapes, and determined what areas of the contract needed to be amended from the report that's before, the contract that's before you, the two contracts that are before you, really, in order to comply with the committee action, and that is the report that is before you. I believe there's going to be a request by the developer for one additional change in order to meet their contractual obligations for their collective bargaining.
Did you want to say something? Okay. Ms. Galander, how are we going to handle this public hearing now?
Well, it's up to you, Mr. President. There are, I know that
We will be
the...
here until tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me, may I have one more thing?
Go right ahead.
One of the actions that happened at committee was to add to these agreements some implementation agreements that will come after we enter into these contracts, and we will need Ms. Forbes to assist us with that. So one of the recommendations before you is for $100,000 to pay her legal bills. That's for the work done to date. We would need another $80,000 in order to complete the work.
All right, Mr. President, we have had extensive public hearings. I've talked with the group that's here in support, and they've agreed to have a single spokesman if you would... The supporters, at least, the opponents have not talked to me. The supporters have agreed that if you want to hear from a single person, the rest of them will stand up and indicate their support, be available if you have questions. At the time I checked the file, there was only one card listed in opposition. Perhaps we could do the same thing, have somebody I've only seen once before, and perhaps you could have the one speaker from the opposition and everybody who's in opposition can stand, because we have really heard it all before. And the same thing then with the supporters.
Okay, we have Robert Benson. Robert Benson.
Good morning. I'm Robert Benson. I teach at Loyola Law School. I'm opposing number 9. I've been here recently to applaud you in happier circumstances and to support you on other issues, but today I'm afraid that I'm here to dissent. on the ground that number 9 is really not enlightened public policy, or to put it in plain English, that it really stinks. It stinks because this is a handout of corporate welfare to some of the richest men in the country. It is a gift of city taxpayer funds without any independent study showing that the city is getting an adequate quid pro quo, no adequate return. There are claims, but there are no independent studies showing what you're getting for the $35 million handout. It violates the principles of those of you who are fiscal conservatives. Councilman Wax, I don't know how this could be reconciled with your crusade against public corporate welfare subsidies for the Staples Convention Center, which was an admirable crusade. The progressives on the council, I don't see how this can be reconciled with your progressive principles. It stinks because it's an environmental disaster. It stinks because, in my legal opinion, which I've submitted to you 2 years ago when this first came up, it is an illegal gift of public funds. I think that you can expect more litigation out of this. I think you seem destined to roll on, and many of you vote for it. If you do that, please at least have the decency to hold your noses.
Okay, thank you. Would you, all the people that are in opposition to 9 and 10, please stand? Well, you had an opportunity to speak before. Okay.
I have a card on number 9.
What, are you in opposition?
I am.
Okay, well, please be seated because we have...
Due to the corporate welfare element and due...
Please, would you please stand down?
It's the liquefaction. It's
Please,
the liquefaction.
would you please stand down?
Subsidy to make money.
Now, Ms. Galander, who do you want to speak in favor?
Councilman, I only represented myself. I was not here as part of an organized group.
Ms. Galander pointed out that we would have one in favor and one in opposition. So
Well, I think
please,
that's quite a severe
Thank you. We've
shortcoming
heard from you.
of the
Mr.
democratic
Contreras from the
process. Additional shocking
I'm
activity.
sure you do. I'm sure you do. But
That
we
is gagging the democratic
okay,
process.
turn the sound off. We're having one person speak on each side. I said that. Okay, thank you. Please.
Yeah, we did. Actually, we did. The hearing in the Budget Committee on Monday, it was a joint hearing of the Community and Economic Development Committee and the Budget and Finance Committee, was fairly extensive. We had many speakers.
All right, Mr. Miguel Contreras will speak in favor. Sergeant, would you ask those people to stand down?
Go with me.
While they're getting our delegation to come forward, I would like to thank the City Council for actions yesterday in renaming 9th Street James Woods Boulevard in honor of our leader at the LA County Federation of Labor for years, and I'd like to publicly thank you on behalf of the LA County Federation of Labor. Mr. President, members of the City Council, my name is Miguel Contreras, the Secretary-Treasurer of the LA County Federation of Labor. With us here, you have representatives of the various building and construction crafts unions in Los Angeles County. We'd also, at this point, like to ask those who are here today in support of the Playa Vista project to please stand up. Those in the back, would you please stand up? And we're here today to show our 100% support for this project. We think it will bring thousands of good jobs to the city of Los Angeles, thousands of good jobs to our members here in Los Angeles, provide economic opportunities to inner city youth, which we desperately need. As we know, unemployment in inner cities is at double digits for African American and Latino youth. We need to help bring them into good jobs. The Playa Vista has agreed to a project labor agreement to ensure union participation. It allows for expedited organizing, not just for the construction jobs, but the jobs that will be left behind, those service workers' jobs, jobs that will provide good service worker jobs, from janitors to hotel workers to restaurant workers, with good, livable jobs for the city of Los Angeles, something that we and you have been fighting for years here in LA. And this project will address the economic needs of the communities in Los Angeles. We worked out quite a number of training areas, making sure that this will be a good project, and again, bringing economic opportunities, job opportunities for our members and thousands of people in the inner city and Los Angeles job market. We urge you today to pass it. We urge you to give us an aye vote on this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Contreras, and again, all the cards that have filed, we'll make them part of the file. We have 9 and 10 before us, so Ms. Calanter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Tubert wanted to respond to some of the allegations, and I also want to say something. Why don't you go first, and then let me make a statement here.
Very quickly, I wanted to deal with the issue of the city not getting any benefit from this plan. We were very careful
He's not listening, but Mr. Benson, you might want to listen to this.
Yeah.
We were very careful to look at plans that had been used throughout the city, and the biggest complaint, or excuse me, throughout the nation, the biggest complaint was that subsidies would be given and then the business would move out of the area anyway. We have carefully crafted an agreement where that will not happen. In the first place, they do not get any incentive unless a job is created. And they do not get to keep the incentive unless the job is maintained. And there's a series of times in which they have to stay or they have to return the money that they have received. And we have a letter of credit for $8 million for the first 10 years of the term to make sure that if they do leave, we do get that money back.
Thank you. There are actually several comments I want to make about this. This has been a very long, arduous, and often tedious process of trying to incorporate the concerns that were raised by Playa Vista, concerns that were raised by DreamWorks, concerns raised by the trade unions, concerns raised by a number of community groups, and it has been immortalized in an agreement of incredible complexity. But I think this is a project we should all be very, very proud of. Unlike...
Sergeant, could we have some quiet in the... Would all those people behind you, Richard, move out, please?
Okay, can I try again? I think this is a project that the city can be very, very proud of and will be proud of, because we have built on the experience that we've acquired in some of these other projects. And what we have here is a project that will use private money to create jobs. It will use private money to restore degraded wetlands. It will use private money to bring to the city tax revenues, frankly, as well as jobs. Although the project is actually located in an area that is, on the whole, a relatively affluent one, both the landowner and the DreamWorks studio have made very extensive commitments, not only to the people who will be working in construction jobs and in post-construction jobs, but they've also, I'm very proud to say, committed to a program I proposed to them over 2 years ago to extend their resources to bringing in new people who do not ordinarily have a chance at all of these kinds of jobs. The DreamWorks project in particular will be accompanied by a separate program working with community-based organizations, with the community college district, and with some of them are existing, some not, to ensure that the training that is done for people who want to be in the entertainment industry will be appropriate to the jobs that are going to exist. If we go through all the details of this agreement, we will be here all night. But suffice it to say that everyone has been over it for I can't imagine how many times. And in fact, part of the reason we're going to need Ms. Forbes for future work is that it is such a complicated agreement. We want to be sure that it's implemented properly. So I'm going to move the committee reports, even though I don't sit on either of those committees, with the amendment suggested by Ms. Tubert that we appropriate the money to keep Amy Forbes working for us to make sure that all these people do what they said they were going to do. This is a project that we have actually given to each of the council members a chart looking at how this deal compares to some of the other deals that we've done. The estimated benefit to the general fund is 13 times greater than the Arena project, 21 times greater than the Trizicon project, but the city's contribution is significantly less, and all of it comes, as Ms. Tubert pointed out, in the form of a credit they don't get unless they perform. And there is also a provision in the agreement that if they don't perform for long enough, they have to pay it back, and believe me, that took a long time to negotiate as well. So it's my hope that you will join me in supporting this, that we can finally have a project that will serve as a model of how to handle urbanization in an infill project in an era when we are all struggling with the fact that growth is eating up the farmland, eating up the wilderness, eating up the suburbs, and the reason for that is that there's no place else for it to go except back in the city. This is in the city. It's an opportunity for a whole series of pluses, and I ask you to join me in supporting it. Before I sit down, I want to thank everybody who spent these last 2.5 years working on this. The people from DreamWorks who've been very forthcoming, the people from Playa Vista who've been very forthcoming, although some days I didn't always say that. The labor unions, the community groups, and most especially I want to thank my staff. Adi Lieberman spent his entire birthday in conference calls yesterday, as he seems to have done about 24 hours a day for the last 6 months, trying to make this thing come together. And I'm very proud to tell you that we believe it has come together, and I ask your support.
All right, Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, as you recall, when this project first came before the City Council, I voted no. I was not voting no against jobs. I was not voting no against affordable housing. I was voting no because the project as proposed was not compatible to the environment in a way that the problems that be generated by the project in terms of traffic, for example, was not being mitigated. And it caused me some concerns. I figured that why fix the problem after the fact? That the right thing to do is to become a good neighbor, is to do it before the problem is generated to the magnitude that is predictable with this project of this size. Mr. President, members, I said then and I say now that if there's a commitment on the table not to just deal with phase 1 of this project, which is going to severely impact traffic in the area of St. Ellen, Teal, Jefferson, Lincoln, etc., not just in the city of Los Angeles, but surrounded by the city of Culver City, the county unincorporated area, as well as the city itself. Now, you're looking at roughly $30 million to improve Highway 90 down to Lincoln Boulevard, which would not at all relieve the traffic that will be generated by this project, creating 3,000 residence apartments and the business complex in phase 1. It just won't happen. It seemed to me if you're going to do the thing the right way, that you would consider at least, if you didn't do it in retrospect, consider it now, amending or modifying phase 1 and certainly phase 2 to the extent where you can relieve the traffic in that area. Having worked there for 9 years at that site, I'm very familiar with it. We finished work at 5:15. We had maybe 7,000 people working at the site. It took us an hour to clear the area, and not much has changed. We landlocked by the ocean. There's only one way out. That was at Hughes Aircraft Company site where I worked. So I worked at the site, so I'm very familiar with it. So I'm saying to you that, yes, I'm for jobs. I'm not in favor of stalling the project. I think Ms. Galante took note of that before when I voted for the tax credit that would be granted to this project in a timely fashion if they were all possible, where it could be competitive from Sacramento. But I would say to you that there's going to have to be a commitment, if my support is to be continued for this project, to do that off-ramp, off Highway 90. That's the only fix I think that you can make Caltrans has already proposed that as an idea as well, and very supportive of it, even before this first vote came to the city council. Voting with our eyes closed would be a mistake that we will never recover from. For those of us who are here would not have to live with it because we would have come and gone. But for the generations as elected officials and as people living in the area, it would be severely impacted. The problem would not be solved. It would be nothing more than a choke down, bottleneck, and it wouldn't work. So keep with that in mind. Be assured that this is something that you should not just think about for today, but work on for tomorrow. And thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Alatorre.
Mr. President, members, can I ask Patty, I have one question. On existing collective bargaining agreements on the question of living wage, how, I wanted to make sure, and we can do this separate and apart from this as long as it's done, how is that handled? You know, like you already have, there's a collective bargaining agreement already in existence prior to on the question of living wage, is that what we're talking about? And they're meeting the living wage standards and the like. How are we coping with that? And I just want to make sure if this was consistent with, on those instances, with the living wage ordinance.
With the changes that were made in committee, it's not consistent. We would need to add language that nothing in those provisions regarding the living wage and the maybe and those other provisions we talked about in committee could affect their collective bargaining agreements, and that way we wouldn't have a problem with that.
All right. Now, it's probably not appropriate now, but can we, I don't know how we do it, but I think it'd be appropriate that we do it. Do we do it separate from, I don't want to hold up this action. Or is it now, or do we do it in a separate ordinance, just dealing with the living wage?
I think you need to do a motion now to amend the contract to include that it be.
If that's fine with the author, that's what I'd like you to do, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, members of the council, I suspect it was a few years ago or more that both Ms. Galanter and Mr. Deaton came to my office to talk about a project that was very exciting on its face. It didn't take long for me to say conceptually that I was prepared to be supportive. And it's been, I think Ms. Galanter indicated, at least 2.5+ years of a lot of work to bring us to this particular point. But I think it can be generally agreed, and this is certainly the sentiment that was expressed at the Joint Committee on Monday, and that the proposal is a stronger proposal because of the amount of work and time, toiling, investment made by a number of entities. Some of us know them better than others with respect to those who have been involved. But I think it's noteworthy when we think about our discussion about citizen involvement, participation in government, how community-based organizations can play an active and constructive, indeed a progressive role in helping those of us who have the responsibility as policymakers to forge public policy that's in the best interest of the citizens of Los Angeles. I think the work that was done by the Metropolitan Alliance with DreamWorks, with the council office who's principally responsible for this is noteworthy with respect to the amount of organizing that went on with community-based organizations, religious organizations, unions, and the importance of developing concepts like a workforce development fund to train and educate people for jobs in this rapidly expanding and changing industry. the importance of community input. If we talk about neighborhood councils,
Your time is up. Your time is up.
thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to conclude because the distraction over here is at a level that's pretty significant, if you'll permit me.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I was saying, Mr. President, members of the council, that as we talk about the issue of participation of neighborhood councils and a range of things, this ought to be seen as an example of how interaction can take place in a meaningful and largely constructive way. The council office in question and several other council offices, most notably CD 13, Councilmember Jackie Goldberg, who wished to express these points herself, as well as my council office, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Alatorre, Ms. Walters. These are issues that are very powerful and have far-reaching implications for the question of public subsidies, and I think all who have been involved to bring us to this point ought to be commended. But I just simply want to underscore that it is a moment that we should look at with a high degree of appreciation for the investment that has been made. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Wax.
Mr. President, members of council, there are really two fundamental issues involved here. One is the environmental issue, which I think is really behind what most of the opposition that is here today, and I think which Ms. Galanter has addressed as best one could address throughout the course of these hearings, short of permitting nothing on the site and buying it. It's a little bit like the golf course. It finally got to a point where you provide as many environmental protections as you can without, in essence, taking the property outright. And I think she's done a fantastic job. I guarantee you that if this project had come up years ago when I was on the council, you would have never had the kind of environmental protections that are here. The other issue, however, I want to address to Mr. Benson is the issue of the city's economic incentives. And I think from that standpoint, you're here on the wrong case, Professor Benson. You should have been here on Trizacon. The fact of the matter is, in this case, all of the benefits that are being given, all of the economic incentives that are being given, are pursuant to citywide policies that are given to any other business in the city that provides the same thing in return. The jobs credit, for example, is now a program that we will give to any business in the city that provides new, meaningful jobs. The fact that this is $35 million and it was only 2.7 in the arena only underscores the fact that this is providing a lot more jobs. The fact is that this is a project that will provide meaningful, long-term, good-paying jobs. And what makes this project exciting is that for once we have a project whereby the owners of the project finally recognize they've got to share those benefits with the people who work in the project. And that, to me, is a very significant day here. The arena only got $2.7 million max because it's not going to provide very many good jobs except to some ball players who don't need any subsidies. Now, beyond that, all of the incentives that this project has gotten are incentives that are available to every single new business, whether it's the sewer hookup or the business tax or any of the others. These are not benefits tailored to a project. What you should have been down here was when we had Trizacon. Trizacon, unlike, and there, Ms. McGlanter, I want to take issue with the chart the CLA prepared for you. They really didn't do a good job on that. In the arena, every penny that the city put up is guaranteed ironclad to be paid back to the city and not by taxes that are owed it. Whereas in Trizacon, the huge investment to Trizacon is going to be paid out of business taxes, sales taxes, utility taxes, things that could be used for police, fire, libraries, and schools and all the rest are going back to pay that back. was a giveaway that has never been done before in this city, and nothing in return. You're here on the wrong project. The benefits being given to DreamWorks are benefits available to everybody for specific things provided in return, and they're given only if the jobs are created, the jobs are well-paying, the jobs are from targeted areas,
and
the
thank
jobs
you,
are
Mr.
meaningful. And that, to me, is something this city should be encouraging.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, I think that this is an opportunity for us to understand that this agreement is not perfect, but it's the best agreement we as public policy makers have put together in regards to an economic development project. And I say that quite frankly because we basically agreed to the job incentives goals over 3 years ago. And in that time, other projects have come before us, as mentioned earlier. The Staples Arena, Transicon, even the Laurie's California project in my district, where we're working with the Santa Monica Conservancy. And each time a project has come before us, we've gotten better at what we do. One of the differences between this project and those projects is that this project has been in the works all that time. And what has happened is DreamWorks has had the opportunity to work with the immediate communities and basically provide access to its potentials. And when I say that, it's also been working on these grassroots organizations, community-based organizations, that are trying to create the links to that access to those jobs. Now, I say that because the reality is this project's going to happen. And it's going to be a project that's going to create over 26,000 jobs. A project whose increments to the city on a conservative basis are over $550 million. And when we're talking about the incentive program, we're looking at less than 6% of the total increments that could be generated from this project. Now, Mr. Malloy from CRA will tell you that 6% doesn't compare to the 48% Transicon is dealing with, or the 40% that was dealt with the Santa Monica Mountains. So I want to put it in a perspective because this project is being motivated on its own, and the incentives we're being provided are not only from the city, but a partnership that includes state highway funds, a project that basically is not just putting the burden on the backs of the city of Los Angeles because of its regional implications. Now, I need to also recognize the local community and the community at large that is talking about working class people and the work the role that they're playing in the development of this process. Because what they're saying is to have these opportunities but not the training and not the ability to get those jobs makes no sense at all. And they're demanding that be part of the program. And DreamWorks and Playa Vista have the opportunity, working with collective bargaining units and community-based organizations, to make that happen in terms of the city of Los Angeles. So again, I think that Ms. Galanter has done a tremendous job in trying to bring together all these forces to deal with all these different issues. And I know it's not perfect, but I know that any future projects that come before us have another model that they have to try and comply with. And we're getting better at it. And it's going to make a tremendous difference to the people of the city of Los Angeles, because the beauty of this project was the give and take, the participation, and basically the demanding and the willingness to comply that's making it happen. And that's something we weren't seeing in economic development projects before. And I think it's a tremendous process, and all those who participated deserve a lot of credit.
Thank you, Ms. Galanter. No, I'm sorry. Ms. Galanter, you spoke. Mr. Fuhr. Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Wax made, I thought, a number of important points. I want to return to a couple of them. First, he noted that what underlies much of the opposition before us is not opposition to this jobs package. It is opposition on environmental grounds. And on that point, were we to be deliberating today on the environmental consequences of the possible phase 2 of this project, there would be a lot of vigorous discussion. And I, for one, could easily be now predicted to oppose subsequent phases to this. But that's not before us. What's before us is the first phase of the project. And Mr. Holden accurately pointed out where much of the first phase is actually to be constructed. And it's not on a pristine piece of wetland. The environmental issue has been discussed here at length. For phase one, what is before us makes environmental sense. With regard to the jobs piece, Ms. Galanter and her staff have, as Ruth described, been working around the clock to create the most inclusive process that I have ever seen here in the City Council regarding a jobs package that will make a critical difference in the lives of not a few hundred, but tens of thousands of people. And not just in the immediate term, as Mr. Contreras pointed out, but in the long term. And not just for one corner of the city, but for the whole city. So the package before us, which is the result of an enormous amount of very good work, is both productive and significant from an employment perspective. But even though we don't have the environmental piece before us, and we've already spoken at length about that, phase one makes sense. And this deserves unanimous support, making clear, as many have stated, that what is before us could be a model, not an exception.
Mr. Burnson.
Yes, members of the council, we all obviously know the importance of the economic facets of this project. I want to talk a little bit about the environmental concerns. I don't think that anybody on this council has been more involved with dealing with sensitive areas than Ruth Galanter. I think that she has looked carefully at every aspect of this, worked with the community, and the things she's done in supporting this project to its, particularly phase one, have been dealing with protecting the environment and protecting the wetlands. I truly believe that if she did not feel, and I feel the same way, that this was done in the most protective way possible, not only to preserve but to reinstate some of the areas that have deteriorated because of nature and because of what has happened in the past. She would not support it, and neither would I. But she has communicated with the community, and she has worked very hard, not just on this particular project as far as the wetlands, but on every environmental issue that we've had that's dealt with the city, not just in her district, but other districts. She's been concerned about things like the Chatsworth Reservoir, which I've sought to protect, and other things, the Santa Monica Mountains. And this is consistent with the way she has treated environmental issues. I fully support it, and I think that the public should recognize the fact that Mrs. Galanter has paid attention to protection of the wetlands and protecting the environment there. And I urge support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Galanter.
The only reason I want to talk again is I'm advised that there is a technical amendment that needs to be made, and I'll ask the CAO to say that.
To make one technical amendment on the hearing date that's set. It needs to be changed from July 7th to July 9th, and we'll make that correction.
That's on
and put it in
item
the files.
10.
That's on item 10, correct.
And I've already moved the committee report, the joint committee report with the amendment to pay Ms. Forbes for the work to help us make sure this is implemented. And you're about to give me another one?
That's the one for Alatorre.
Oh, right. And Mr. Alatorre had also asked for one earlier, amending Article 3 of the DreamWorks agreement. There are two agreements here, DreamWorks and Playa Vista. Amending Article 3 of DreamWorks agreement to specify that nothing in Section 39, 3.11 and 3.12 shall affect negotiated collective bargaining agreements, and then make similar amendments to Article 13 of the Playa Vista Phase 1 agreement. And while I'm up here, I did want to say that toward the end of this process, we spent a great deal of time and had actually a very productive working relationship with Metropolitan Alliance, and I understand Anthony Thigpen is here somewhere in this crowd. Hello, Anthony. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to yield a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds of my time to ask Mr. Thigpen if he's still with us.
Thank you, Councilwoman Galanter. I have three just very quick comments to make. The first is we're very, very proud of the work that we've done with the Councilwoman Galanter's office, with the community colleges, with DreamWorks, to come up with amendments that really address the issue of training and resources for training and where those jobs will go. The second point is very simply that all of this is ultimately just words right now. It remains to be seen, and it's really the challenge of all of us is to remain vigilant to make sure that the environmental concerns are taken care of, that jobs are actually created, that training actually takes place, and that the people who need those jobs actually get those jobs. My last point is really looking beyond just this project, and it's really a point I think that Councilman Wax made, which is what's needed is a coherent city policy on economic development strategy and the role of subsidies and incentives in that. What's needed is an overarching policy for all subsidies, so you don't have to do a case-by-case basis, but always involves workforce development training and resources for that. Always involves and develop a first source hiring policy to make sure that there's access for communities most in need. Always involved an institutionalized role for community people. We're proud of the work we've done thus far. We all understand this is a first step, and we're looking forward to making all those things happen.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Councilman Chick. Ms. Chick is up next.
Yes, I take the pleasure in moving the previous question.
All right. Is there any objection to the previous question? If not, the previous question is approved, and the chair will consider Mr. Alatorre's amendment as part of the whole package that Ms. Galanter has moved. So open the roll on Ms. Galanter's on number 9, including Mr. Alatorre's amendment. Close the roll.
13 ayes.
That's approved. And now number 10, with the change of the date that Ms. Galanter mentioned to July 9th. Open the roll on item 10. Close the roll.
13 ayes.
That's approved. Are there any more on this item? All right.
Hey, Ms. Forbes, to
Ms.
extend your contract.
I believe you had that.
That's in, okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. Forthwith, please, on both of them.
Without objection, that'll be the order. And Mr. Ferraro.
Thank Mr. Holden.
We'll have the joint meeting now. All of you who are leaving the council chamber, please refrain from talking until you get outside the chamber, because we do have city business to attend to. Let me, members of the council, this is a continuation of the joint public meeting of the City Council and the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Los Angeles was previously held May 5th, 1999, regarding the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan. Will the clerk please call the roll of the members of the City Council and the Community Redevelopment Agency?
Alatorre, Bernson, Chick, Fear, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley Thomas, Swarnich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro. 13 members present in a quorum of the City Council, Mr. President.
Call the roll for the redevelopment agency.
Ms. Chavez, Dr. Richmond, Ms. Robert, Mr. Roseman, 4 members present in a quorum.
Okay, pursuant to the California Community Redevelopment Law, it is my responsibility as Council President to continue to preside over the joint public meeting for both the City Council and the agency. At the joint public hearing, held on May 5th, 1999. Oral statements, questions, and comments were received, and all written statements were entered into the record. The joint public hearing was closed, and the joint public meeting was continued until this date and time. Written responses to objections received at the joint public hearing have been prepared by the agency on behalf of the City Council. Those responses are received into the record for consideration. Agency staff will now present an oral summary of those objections and responses. The agency and the City Council will then consider approval and adoption of the proposed redevelopment plan. Mr. Malloy, proceed with the staff presentation.
Mr. President, members of the Council, members of the Commission, my name is John Malloy. I'm the Administrator of the Redevelopment Agency for the City of Los Angeles. We held a joint public hearing on May 5th, during which public testimony was received regarding the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan. There were 5 written comments and 6 oral statements made at the meeting itself. They were not clearly objections, but that rather they raised general concerns. The responses are included in your packet. With respect to both the written and oral comments, they came primarily in 3 subject areas. One was about the findings of blight. A second was about possible property acquisition, including the use of eminent domain. A third raised concerns about community input during the plan preparation process. I'd like to address each of those 3 areas very briefly. As to the findings of blight, the report to the Council represents a snapshot in time expressing the physical conditions in the project area. A thorough analysis of the ratings and 48 separate data items were collected on 1,600 parcels and over 1,400 buildings regarding the establishment of the existence of blighting conditions throughout the project area. There was no one property singled out. Rather, a map displays the report on the data, which clearly shows that the findings of blight have been established. As to concerns regarding property acquisition, we said that there are no specific plans for any redevelopment property acquisition on any particular sites at this time. If and when such plans are contemplated, the proposed redevelopment plan and the related owner participation rules provide excellent opportunities for property owners to participate in the redevelopment of their property. There are preferences for tenants to re-enter into businesses within the project area. The plan itself does not mandate any acquisition of property within the project area. Much of the redevelopment will be carried on by the property owners themselves. If a particular development site does require site assembly by the agency at a later time, the process will be explained to each individual property owner. Anyone displaced by the agency's activities will have relocation benefits provided. It is particularly important to note that the City Council will have to approve each and every use of eminent domain in this particular project area. As to concerns raised about the outreach efforts, we've been working in the Westlake community since 1993. We had an appointed advisory committee. They met 31 times, and then we had an elected project area committee, and they met 39 times during the 6-year period under which this plan was discussed. Over the 6 years, public attendance was steady. There was a mailing list of over 100 names that we mailed out to on a repeated basis. Furthermore, mailings to all property owners, tenants, businesses, and community organizations occurred for annual elections, as well as for the joint public hearing which occurred last week. It is clear that there's been extensive community outreach over the course of many years. Regarding continued input and involvement by the community during the implementation of the plan, as noted above, the plan provides for the participation of property owners and tenants in redevelopment activity. All PAC meetings and elections will continue to be properly noticed, posted, and open to the public. These are the highlights of the responses. Responses to all the issues are contained in the council binder. Members of the City Council and agency commissioners, this concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Malloy. Are there any questions or comments by members of the City Council or the agency? Does the agency wish to take action on the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan at this time?
We do. Prior to taking any action, I'd like to state that although she was not present at the May 5th, 1999 meeting, Commissioner Christine Robert has considered the material included in the report to City Council, including the transcript and records of the joint public hearing held on May 5th, 1999. Is that correct, Commissioner Robert?
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, members of the Council, that's correct. I have reviewed the records and the transcripts from the May 5th meeting.
Therefore, Commissioner Robert is entitled to vote on the following items. All right. We need a separate motion and vote on each of these resolutions. A resolution of the Community Redevelopment Agency certifying that the agency has reviewed and considered the information contained in the final environmental impact report for the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan, making certain findings regarding the environmental impacts of the proposed redevelopment plan, adopting a mitigation, reporting, and monitoring program, and adopting a statement of overriding considerations. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? A second resolution, a resolution certifying that the City Council has reviewed and considered the information contained in the final environmental impact report for the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan, making certain findings regarding the environmental impacts of the proposed plan, adopting a mitigation, reporting, and monitoring program, and adopting a statement of overriding considerations. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It was unanimous on both resolutions. I'd like to, therefore, we're making a presentation. No? Where? Mr. President and members of the City Council, the agency now submits to you the actions of the agency for your consideration in your actions to adopt the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan.
Thank you. Council Member Hernandez, do you have any comments or motions to make?
Mr. President, members of the council, I basically want to say, thank the Community Development Agency commissioners for being present today in this joint meeting, but more important, to also acknowledge the people from the community who came here, Mr. Coyle, John Mills. This has been a 7-year process for the Westlake community. And for those of you who aren't aware of Westlake, it's the area west of the Harbor Freeway, basically from Olympic to Temple Beaudry area. It includes MacArthur Park, but when we basically brought a program in there called Youth Fair Chance, we got the demographics that showed it was the most densely populated area in the city of Los Angeles with a high youth population growing up in poverty. An area that the city has impacted through the Central City redevelopment and the development of that skyline because the property values are such that it makes it difficult to develop anything. A tremendous debate going on about education. We have 2 new elementary schools that have opened in the area and the potential for 2 more. We have no park space, and the development of park space is extremely important. And we have an underclass population, and when I say underclass, I'm talking about the fact that they are employed but underemployed, and so the wages that they are earning are such that it limits their opportunities and the quality of life. We have the busiest fire station in the nation, and basically the Rampart Division has been doing its best to bring down the crime, but we have a tremendous amount of work to do there. This is another tool for that community to use. The kind of housing that's been built there has been happening with the assistance of CRA. And the reality, it's been housing that has included child care centers and open space with security for children and computer learning centers in Casa Loma. It's been housing for single parents, housing for teenage pregnancies, housing for families. And we need to do much more of that because to improve the quality of the housing stock is extremely important. But also the job creation and the opportunities extended to that community are going to come hopefully with a new Kmart and a new Rite Aid and a new Mercado that opens at the Metropolitan Transit Station. All these kinds of issues have to be addressed, and we need the tool of CRA there to make it happen. And we need to know, and again, this council took action last week that guarantees that the city council would have to approve any eminent domain proceedings if that was to happen. And we put a cap on the administrative fees. But the reality is, this is a tool that that community needs, and I need to make sure that the empowering of the community's participation and that we make sure that we deal with the issue of gentrification and not remove people from a community that they deserve to live in, but increase the quality of their life happens through this process. And that's why I'm thanking the commissioners who've gone through the process, the staff of CRA who's gone through the process, and the community people who've gone through the process. The work is just beginning. And I think every resident there will tell you that the quality of life has changed, but there's a tremendous of work that has to be done. And so with that, Mr. President, I basically move approval of the city resolutions regarding the development of this area as a CRA area.
City Clerk.
The first item is a resolution responding to and making written findings in response to written and oral objections to the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan.
Okay. We call the roll on each. Call the roll.
Take a roll call.
Separate vote for each item. City Clerk.
14 ayes.
Okay. The agency, you have to vote too?
They voted already.
They voted already?
Yeah, we're voting on.
Okay.
Now we have the second resolution.
Okay. Would you give us that?
A resolution certifying that the City Council has reviewed and considered the information contained in the final environmental impact report for the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan, making certain findings regarding the environmental impacts of the proposed plan, adopting a mitigation reporting and monitoring program, and adopting a statement of overriding findings.
Okay. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved.
And the last item is presentation and adoption of an ordinance approving and adopting the redevelopment plan for the Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Project.
Okay. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved.
Mr. President, if I could, for the record, just clarify, the resolution that was read by our commission apparently was the resolution that is the City Council's resolution on the environmental impact report. And just to clarify for the record, the resolutions are identical. There's one resolution adopted by the Commission, one resolution adopted by the City Council. And just to clarify again, that the vote that the Commissioners took is in fact on the vote, on the resolution that is the agency's resolution. Is that correct, Commissioners?
That's correct.
And similarly, the other resolution is only a resolution of the CRA Commission, and so that one doesn't need to be clarified.
Okay. We'll send that. We'll understand that correction and clarification, and we'll send it forthwith to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you,
And
Commissioner
thank to the agency. Okay, we'll go back into the regular session. Let's go through and take the routine items. Yeah.
Items 1 through 7 are items noticed for public hearings.
Okay, we have cards on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we'll call those, and 7 has been continued, so we'll call those. Anybody here on item number 1? Anybody want to be heard on item number 1? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
And that's to be continued for the Prop 218 votes to June 2nd.
To June 12th?
Second.
I have...
Oh, sorry, it should be the second.
Okay. The item number 1 will be continued until June 2nd. Okay, the next item?
Next item, items for which public hearings have been held, items 8 through 15.
Okay, are there any specials by council members? Well, 8, 9, and 10 we've taken care of. 11 through 15, any specials? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved, including the ordinances on 11 and 12. Next group.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 19 through 45.
19 through 45.
Yes.
We have people who want to be heard on 31, 32, 34. And what was the last, 39? Huh? Okay. Anybody want to be heard on any of the other items, the numbers I did not call? What number? 30? You got to fill out a card. 32 is called special. Okay. Okay, then prepare the roll on, huh? 37 call special. Huh? Mr. Savarnich? Just tell me what you want.
Item 36 back to the CRA Board of Commissioners, please.
Is there any objection?
For 30 days.
Is there any objection to sending 36 back to the agency?
30 days.
For 30, and return in 30 days? Seeing none, that will be the order.
Call 3 special.
There's a card there. Okay. Okay, we have 19 through 45, with the exception of 30, 31, 32, 34, and 37, and 39.
And 45.
And 45. Okay, call the roll on the balance.
3, unless he wants to speak in favor of it.
14 ayes.
Supporting it, tell him to shut the dummy up. Okay?
Well, he will, you tell him, I'm not.
I don't know who he is.
Well, okay. Those are approved. The next group,
Items 46 and 47 are closed session items.
leave those on the desk.
On the continued agenda, item 48.
48. Huh?
48.
48.
Yes.
Okay, now, the public hearing has been held.
It should be, has not been held.
Mr. Alatorre, we do have people who want to be heard on this.
Well, can we have 5 minutes on each side? Fine.
Mr. Alatorre, is my understanding this is going to go to committee?
It's going to go, after it transfers, it's going to go back to planning, and then it comes back to committee, and then it's heard before the council. This is just to initiate the process. So this has nothing to do with anything else, which we're attempting to follow, and we have the city attorney here that can explain the intent of this motion, if need be,
Why don't we just send it back?
I would like to do that. I would like to refer it to the Planning Commission and have it then come back to Plum and then to the council, and that would be my motion.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez,
Mr. President, we've had tremendous debate on this item on 2 separate occasions, one through the entire process. And yesterday, I felt that, again, I wanted to make sure that the public was not excluded from the process, and Mr. Alatorre has agreed, and that's part of what's happening at this time. But I do understand that a lot of residents are here. I would like them to coordinate their statements so that they can make them, but I need to qualify everything by saying that this process has to start over again. That's why it's going back to planning, and then there's going to be a public hearing process. Well, okay, well, again, they're gonna, there's 2 sides here. One side would like it not to happen, and another
one
side
would like
wants it
it to
to happen.
happen.
And
you know
there
what?
has to be a process.
Right.
And that's
the
what is
process-
happening. And so, from my perspective, Mr. President, I would limit public comment to 5 minutes each.
That's fine.
And I do understand that Supervisor Molina wants to make a statement, and so that's something I would ask that we extend a courtesy to.
All right, 5 minutes on each side.
is Supervisor Molina here?
She's on her way, so maybe we could do the public comment first, Mr. President?
Well, do you tell me what 5 minutes you're going to give to whom? Because we have about 2 hours of hearing here.
Just pick 5 on each side, pick a few on each side.
No, we should have the people that, Mr. Hernandez, would you tell me who you want to be heard?
Mr. President, I would ask them to select some spokespersons. I don't think I could win in that decision-making process, so we need someone to speak on behalf of the groups. Please.
Would you give your name, please?
Yes, Diana Tarango, 3409 Michigan Avenue. I have been a resident of 3409 Michigan for 63 years, and I cannot understand in my wildest dream why this issue is up here again. We have gone through this process. We have gone through all the court systems. We've talked to Mr. Alatorre. We've talked to Mr. Hernandez. And everyone knows the problem that the Mercado causes in East Los Angeles. It is not a marketplace that has brought in good element. It has not been a good neighbor. It has violation after violation. Mr. Alatorre, you know what it's like there. You've been there, you visited. Why are you doing this to us over again? We've got violations of selling drugs. We've got illicit things going on. And for it to come before the city council and none of the residents have been informed, we are here. I took time off from my work, my busy schedule to come here. Why in God's name is this being allowed again? City Council, Plum Committee, the whole thing over and over. You all have seen me here over and over again fighting for the justice of the residents. I am here because it is a place that has not done anything to enhance the neighborhood. How would you like to live there? How would you, Mr. Alatorre, like to move into my house for a month and put up with it? I don't think you would. And I am very upset and disgusted with the whole process that is being taken place here today. Thank you.
Who else is going to speak on that? Yeah, pick two people. You pick them.
Hello, my name is Nadine Diaz. I live at 120 North Chesbros Lane. I am 36 years old. I am employed at USC School of Medicine. I'm a third-generation graduate of USC. I am here in opposition, you're USC grad, go Trojans, in opposition because this is unfair to the residents who have lived in the community for 4, 5, 6 generations. We are a working-class people. It doesn't need to go back to City Planning Commission. We have gone through the process since 1994. And let me shed some light on how all this happened. The first time the residents ever met with Councilman Alatorre, this was in May of 95, excuse me. We went to Councilman Alatorre because we had some grave concerns of the spillover, the traffic, the drug trafficking. We went to you and said to please work with us, to help us. We want a better quality of life. It is unfair for the businesses, the small businesses, and the residents. And we shared with you, there is illegal trafficking of illegal things that go on there. And this is what you said to the residents. Don't you dare bring it up again, and don't you dare go to the police. We have witnesses, and what I'm saying is that we have a right to live in a better quality of life. Here are some pictures right here of the violations that continue to this very day. This very day. The owner has 3 properties, 211, 215, 217, Chesbros Lane. They are slumlord housing. He didn't take it and try to fix it and try to be a better neighbor. We were not even informed of this. And we have to take time off from our work, our job, our families, our school, our work, just to be here. This is unfair. 7 petitions in the last 5 5 years, we've gone to city council, we've met with you, Councilman Alatorre, many times. We've gone to you because you are the councilman that represents the constituents. Our taxes pay your salary. It's not what you can do for us, it's what we can do for you.
Okay, all right,
It's
please.
unfair.
Please,
It's unfair.
just talk about the
The
project.
drug issue, what in the world is 6 pints of ether doing in the El Mercado? What is what Valium, Demerol, a trash can full of syringes? We're either going to have a legitimate medical clinic,
Okay.
or we are going to have a true Mexican market that truly represents our culture, our family, and our history.
All right, okay, thank you.
The payoffs must be good.
All right. We will make the cards part of the file now. Those in favor, is this, who wants to be heard on that? Juan Gutierrez?
Buenos días. Gracias por darme la oportunidad de hablar. Estoy aquí para apoyar a los comerciantes.
She is here. She is here to support the merchants at the mercado.
Yo pienso que es injusto dejar a todas estas familias sin trabajo.
I think it's unfair to take jobs away or to leave these people without any employment.
De eso viven, de eso mantienen sus hijos. ¿Qué quiere esta gente? ¿Que se vayan a welfare?
That's how they support their families and their children. Do you want them to go on welfare?
Los que califican y los que no, ¿qué quieren? ¿Que vayan a robar?
If they qualify, and if they don't qualify, do you want them to go and steal?
Esta gente es gente trabajadora y todo lo que les acumulan, que hay crimen, que hay drogas, las drogas que se refieren son las medicinas que encontraron en el mercado, no drogas fuertes.
These are working people, and all those crimes that they are being accused of selling drugs and of selling other illegal substances. The only thing that was being sold there are medicines, not controlled substances.
Qué lástima que por un capricho de nuestra propia gente, de latinas, vengan a tratar de quitar a esta gente humilde.
It's a shame that because of the whim of our own people, of some Latinas, they want to kick these people out.
Ustedes, señores concejales, gracias por poner atención a todo esto, pero así como se están uniendo al condado para este problema, yo quisiera pedirles que se unan para que nos quiten la droga y la prostitución de la Whittier Boulevard. También para eso debían de cooperar y unirse todos, no para atacar a familias inocentes.
Thank you, members of the council, for listening on this issue, and thank you for uniting with the county on trying to solve this problem. What we really need is a joint effort to get rid of the prostitution and other illegal activities on East Whittier instead of coming down on these people.
Muchísimas gracias y espero que lo consideren, especialmente los concejales latinos, que es su gente y que los hemos apoyado. Gracias.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you, the council members, and especially the Latino council members, support these people.
Thank you.
Miss Molina, is Miss Molina here?
Let's go, it's going to go on.
She's on her way. Okay, then what is your name?
Okay, my name is Angelina Alatorre Zapata. No, I'm not related to Mr. Alatorre. Okay, I have a business inside of El Mercado, and I see everything that goes on around me. And what I see is families working very hard every day, getting there very early in the morning, carrying their merchandise to the place of their business, putting it in place. By the time they finish putting their merchandise in this place, it's already time for them to leave, okay? I have also seen them working in the rain, windy, and very cold weather. And all this just because they are trying to make a decent living for them and their families. And now, all they're asking is for help. They're not asking for welfare. And if you throw them out of their places of work, where are they going to go? And we are talking about kids, families, and we're not talking just about one or two. We're talking about hundreds of families, okay, that are involved in this. Now, they talk about, these are only 2 or 3 people that are taking their personal problems that they have with the owner, and they have the power to fight, political power that they have, and they're taking it just for a personal problem that they have with the owner, and they don't see the damage and the harm that they're doing on all these people, these very hard-working people that are trying to make a living, trying to make the dream of America, and just because of a personal problem that they have with the owner. I don't think this is fair. Okay? If they have a personal problem with the owner, why don't they settle it and stop harming, okay, these families that are nothing but just trying to make a decent living for their kids?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's, the 5 minutes is up. Now, no more speakers. The 5 minutes is up, and they will be part of
I'm
the
one
file.
of the residents who lives there, not one of the...
I would like to present this evidence to the president. Thank you.
Yes, please, please. I'm sorry.
here as a resident of the neighborhood. You had
There's a
someone
lot of
represented
residents,
over
but
there.
the public hearing is closed.
We are...
Come on, John, let's go. Good.
We'll let, turn her on, and then
That
she'll be the only
lady
one.
is way out, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now, my name is Gloria Fernandez. My mother's house is right next to the parking lots. We view 5 parking lots from my mother's window. She's up on top, and we can see everything. Now, they keep insisting that there's all kinds of drugs and stuff. Well, they may be in the neighborhood, that's true, but they're not around us. And last time we had I've been here many, well, not to this particular place, but to many of the hearings. And some of you may be familiar with me because I have come, because I think Sario has done a good job. He's trying to do everything he can. He tried to work with all the neighbors, okay? There are personal conflicts here that a lot of times you don't know about, okay? This is something else. I'm talking about living in the area. He has cleaned up the area in comparison to the way it was. There was graffiti everywhere. He makes it a job to go around cleaning up the graffiti. He makes it a job to go around picking up the trash, because when I started in this, I was in opposition. I did not want anything to do with the Mercado. But he has tried to work with all of us, and he has succeeded in cleaning up the place, and that is why I want him to continue to do this. And all these people that come out, find out where they live exactly. Because we are right there. Some of them live some distance away.
All right, thank you.
We live right there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Ms. Molina, did you want to be heard?
Mr.
Well,
Chairman. and
welcome back to the city council.
Thank you.
Okay, please.
Thank you for hearing me. I was in a budget meeting at the board, but I came here immediately when I heard that Mr. Alatorre is now carrying forward this motion again. It's hard to believe. I think many of you heard me the last time. I've gone through the process ever since. I have now been involved in this process for well over 6 years. It is very unfortunate that every time we've gone to every single body, we can clearly point out factually, clearly, specifically, the violations that have been carried out in this neighborhood. And the community that comes here is talking about something that is very important to many of you, and I'm sure that every single day, people, residents in your community talk about the quality of life. What is our neighborhood like? How do we strengthen the quality of life? These neighborhoods are a very, very important part of the East Side, Boyle Heights, East LA. These neighborhoods, while the housing may not be to the standard of many of the districts that you represent, it is part of the inner city, and people enjoy living in this part of the inner city. Many of them have chose to buy their homes, many of them rent, but they want and have the same aspirations as every single one of your constituents. This issue is a quality of life issue. What you have before you is an application, once again, of someone who doesn't seem to want to honor basic rules, basic laws of the city. He has shown contempt for every single order that has been put forth. This is a man who, a decade ago, or maybe 20 years ago, was given an opportunity to honor the rules of this council. Many of you weren't here at the time. He made commitments. There were conditions that were placed. Never have been honored. Never have been honored. How do you treat someone in your own district that doesn't meet those conditions? The standard shouldn't change. It should not change. Just because Richard Alatorre is still trying to carry water for some of the people that you know that he carries water for, there is no reason to deny these folks a quality of life, which is all that they're asking for. And we've gone through the process every single time, whether it be before Planning Commission, whether it be for every single board. We have documented, we have come, we have done every part of the process. We came before the City Council the last time, and we asked that you deny this, and we based it on some very, very strong facts. The facts were that he's never honored any of the laws, the fact that the negative impact that this has had on the community. It isn't just the littering, the noise, and all that goes on with it, but the abuse that these neighbors have had to take from what's going on. Now, we're not condemning the merchants. The merchants are innocent victims. Innocent victims of this process. This man has taken a parking lot, and he has been renting it out, making a profit from it every single day. He is using the merchants to come here and plead their case. Aren't we entitled to a living? Why can't we make and honor a living there? We have not been trying to deny it. My office has worked with every single one of these merchants and said, we will assist you to relocate your business. We have not gotten one person who has been willing to take it. We have money on the table. Money on the table to relocate them on that same street. They aren't willing to do so. So they're being used here. And you know, this man is collecting rent every single day. And he's saying, but I issued them an unlawful detainer. I mean, I did all the right things. That is not true. This man is using these folks on a regular basis. Now, let me tell you one last thing that is very, you know, this illegal business that is going on here and this operation, and Richard knows El Mercado was once the pride of our community. We wanted to be the promise. No, it is not the pride. It is not the pride. And anyone, including Mr. Alarcon, who was here the last time and talked about the promise that El Mercado would have to a community. Last time I came here, I talked to you about what had happened a couple of days before. As you know, the county board has been very involved in the illegal sale of pharmaceuticals. We have been raiding many of these informal places, butcher shops, shoe shops, everything where they are selling these things. There is an underground that is going on in which poor people are being victimized.
All right.
Let me just finish real quick.
Please.
Poor people are being victimized by the selling of illegal pharmaceuticals, which is a tradition in many Latin American countries. We raided the facility, and well over $1 million of illegal pharmaceuticals were confiscated from El Mercado. It didn't stop. We raided it, and we have health department people here, Mr. Ferraro, that will testify that we raided it against, and we were able to confiscate many more illegal drugs.
Okay.
Mr. Ferraro.
Okay,
point
please,
of order. This is
Ms.
outrageous.
Molina, I know you have to get back to your budget, and we want you to protect the county's taxpayers, so.
Mr.
please,
Ferraro.
Please,
That's it.
this is going to go to committee. This is not going to be acted on today. So please.
And Richard, I guess the only thing that we have saving us is the potential of a councilman that's going to respect the rights of the community.
Just like the supervisor should do the same thing
All
for
right.
you. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go.
All right, please.
These
All
are,
right.
these are the gentlemen that have the documents of the confiscations, if any of the council members would like to address those issues.
Okay.
Mr.
Alatorre, I want to call you first.
No, I want to speak. Mr. President and members, you know, I have lived it longer than you and Ms. Molina has lived this particular problem. All right. And, you know, we can use the owner as a whipping boy, and certainly there's enough ammunition around to use him as a whipping boy. But the one thing that transpired the last time, first of all, I wasn't here because I had just been operated on, and I would have said it then. You know, this is beyond the owner. This is about the health and welfare of innocent people that, as even Ms. Molina says, have been victimized. In terms of the illegal drugs that were found conveniently the day of the hearing, which is, you know, happens I know what happens, and there was a raid thrown upon there. Since that time, just recently, there's been, the owner has hired pharmacists to go around to see that these things do not go wrong. Now, contrary to what was stated, the owner has not collected rent from these people for over a year, once that they were taken out and removed from the premises. And what was promised to the merchants was that, you know, this could be reviewed at some future time. And that's exactly what I'm asking it to happen, is for it to be reviewed. And, you know, let's go through the process. It was granted at one point by the Planning Commission with stringent conditions, which I believe have to be added on and should be added on, so that certain standards and the like be adhered to. But, you know, there comes a time when there is a wrong that was perpetrated against the merchants for a long period of time. Now there's an attempt to clean the place up in terms of legitimizing businesses that were working in unsanitary conditions and the like by the construction of outdoor puestos where there's running water, where if the county so chooses, they have health department, they're in charge of the health and welfare of the county of Los Angeles. Maybe they can do their job and make sure that these things, in fact, do take place. But there is nothing wrong with initiating a process. You know, everybody is allowed due process. This is an attempt to follow a process and to see if, in fact, these merchants that, as has been mentioned, are innocent. They are the ones that want to you know, educate their children, provide a better life for themselves. And, you know, look, I have had as many problems as anybody else has had with the owner, and all I want to see happen is that some justice take place and allow the merchants to live with dignity and respect. They deserve it, and it's time that we stop using them to get after the owner. I ask for an aye vote.
Herman, will you turn that light out? Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, and again, I think that we as a council took an action back in October in regards to this issue, and that action is currently before the Planning Commission. Is that my understanding? And what this motion would be doing, I want to make sure it's not overruling that action, but basically making sure that that action is considered, and at the same time that this public process is continued. And I think it's an area of tremendous debate, but all the interests have to be taken into account in the decision-making process. So the intent of this motion, my understanding is the first thereof was the first approval being requested. The motion is not before us because that's basically going to be sent back. The original, the second one is what be saying taken back to the Planning Commission, but our action today is not overruling our previous action. Is that correct, City Attorney? I just wanted that clarity so that everybody has an understanding of what's happening here.
Mr. Hernandez, would you repeat that?
Yeah, again, we took an action October 8th as a council, and what's going to be done now, because of what's before us today, the first item on the motion for approval is not going to be taken today because we cannot approve a zone change as a city council without going through the process. So it's the second thereof that is being requested, but we as a council had taken an action October 8th. That has to be addressed, and then that this thereof as part of that.
President and members, it is correct that the zone change could not be affected in chambers today because the ordinance is not before you, and that was not the intent of the motion. In fact, the motion directs that the action be forwarded to the Planning Commission for action pursuant to your other regulations. In fact, though, the motion, if it's adopted, would be a continued consideration of your earlier action and would be an amendment of the October action. It would amend the October action to send forward to the Planning Commission the consideration of the zoning designations as set out in the resolution.
When you say amendment, what does it do to the original motion that we passed requesting looking at the changing of the zoning for parking purposes?
It would, in fact, amend that provision and supersede that provision and place before the Planning Commission, if it's the will of the council, the zone change as set out in this motion, which is from R3 to C4.
Okay, and would I be requesting that Councilman Alatorre accept a friendly amendment that allows for this action to be taken by the Planning Commission, but not superseding the previous action, but consideration of both items? You're in agreement with that? So we don't want this to supersede the previous action, but also to be considered along with the previous action of the council?
No, what I'd like to do is to have the Planning Commission revisit this issue forward a recommendation back to the City Council, the Plum Committee, and ultimately the Council.
Okay. Then I'll be asking for a no vote on the motion.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I'm still a little confused, so I want to ask the city attorney. I thought I understood this.
I'm accepting your motion. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Oh, no. So I'm accepting the motion.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My understanding is that we're essentially voting on number 2 to refer the issue to the City Planning Commission. Right. I'm not prepared to vote yes or no on number 1, because that sounds like I'm taking a position to change the position we took in October, and I don't have enough facts to go one way or the other yet.
But that's a matter that ultimately has to come back to us.
Well, but it sounds like, I want clarity. It sounds like I'm saying that I am recommending to the Planning Commission that they change their previous ruling. And I'm not ready to say yes, and I'm also not ready to say no.
Right.
So I want to know how I can say I would be happy to have them look at it again. That's fine with me.
And make a recommendation.
But I'm not happy to recommend that the zoning be changed, because I don't have, this came Rule 16, I don't have enough information. We heard people on both sides here. And to take a position without any more information than that, to me, makes no sense. So I'd be happy if this just said, refer this entire matter to the Planning Commission.
That's what we're doing.
No, number 1 says we're recommending a zone change.
No, we're not acting on it.
But that's our recommendation. It's telling them what we're recommending, and I'm not willing to vote on a recommendation.
We're withdrawing the first thereof.
Let's just get the matter back. If that's the
Well,
way.
no, but just getting the matter back without knowing what it is. I'm asking the city attorney
That's what I'm going to ask the city attorney.
Point of order, can I make a suggestion?
Point.
May solve this problem?
My understanding was the whole thing was going to be referred back to the public.
Why don't we just
Well, but
change?
what is the whole thing, you see?
The whole motion.
Well, I've asked the city attorney a question, so let me get an answer.
President and members, what I understood from the request for the friendly amendment could achieve this goal, but I want to describe it carefully.
Okay, thank you.
If it was the desire of the council to send this item back with the recommendation as stated in the motion, but also with the recommendation that you previously had sent to the Planning Commission, which was the recommendation regarding the parking, you would leave wider choices open to the Planning Commission.
I will only speak for myself, and then I will sit down. I do not wish to send a recommendation at all.
We can solve that by changing one word, okay? Change the word "changed," which is in large capitals, on number 1, to evaluate.
Evaluate, I'm fine with.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
I'm fine with evaluate.
That's fine. Okay. That is fine with me.
Okay, there's no objections to changing that. Ms. Stokowski.
Mr. President, I would like to try to clarify this for the council. On October 18th, October 14th, the council had a zone change that had been initiated to commercial on this property. The council acted and denied the zone change to commercial on this property. That would have been the end of the council action, except that the city attorney advised that because the Boyle Heights Community Plan showed this as a community commercial designation, in denying commercial, we might have a problem. At that point, the council amended the amended the action to say, make it P1. P1 is a zone in the community commercial category. It's been used as parking under a conditional use on an R3 zone for 2 decades. And so that was referred back to the Planning Commission after the denial of the commercial. That is what's pending. This motion and the semantics here are important. If we adopt this motion today to evaluate commercial, it just comes back to the council with either a P1 or a C4 now, not a C2, even though because the council denied the C2. Or we can initiate the action, not evaluate. The initiation is critical because a reconsideration by the Planning Commission doesn't notify all of the property owners all over again that the council is considering commercial after the council denied commercial. The same day that the council did this, the council had introduced a Rule 16 motion that also said that since the problem was with the plan saying this was community commercial, we initiated an amendment to the Boyle Heights plan to change it to multiple residential. So that was initiated and adopted by the City Council. So we have some rather conflicting and contradictory recommendations. So the problem in just sending this all back to the Commission and bringing it forward is that it doesn't go through the due process as if it were a new initiation of commercial today, which would then give everyone the notice as is required under a zone change. So my recommendation would be that if we were going to consider this, it should be as if it were initiated, rather than just to refer back to the Commission to come back to us and give us the 3 or 4 different conflicting City Council actions.
Well,
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Ms. Misikowski because my question was going to be, where is it now? And I am still confused, even after your explanation, and Ms. Goldberg raised some of the same questions. I want to know why. Why are we doing this? We dealt with it, I thought, before and came to an equitable conclusion about what should occur there. Ms. Molina was here before and spoke very eloquently. People from both sides in the community were here and spoke very eloquently. This is a residential area, and I don't know why we have this before us again. I understand that Mr. Alatorre was in the hospital, but there are other things that went on during the time he was out that he sent messages about, and he could have sent a message about this, and it had been held until he came back. Council members, I am not willing to change this. I'm not willing to re-examine it. I'm not willing to evaluate it. I think the action that has been taken by the council after careful study needs to stand.
Mr. Wax.
I need some help. Yeah, I need to ask Ms. Misikowski some more questions. What I see this as really is sort of a way for the council to become the applicant for a zone change instead of the property owner, and I don't want that to happen. If he wants to make an application and go through it and go through the process, that's fine, and we'll deal with it when it comes here. How do we avoid, and I'm going to ask you the same thing, how do we avoid any action being deemed to be or having the effect of the council now becoming the applicant for a zone change? Because I don't really want to put the council in that position.
Well, I think the city attorney has to answer.
Jerry Burge, City Attorney's Office. In this particular case, it's not a question of the City Council becoming the applicant. It's a question of whether the City Council has retained jurisdiction on the application. In this case, there has not been a final decision on the application. The application is still pending, and you're simply continuing your consideration of the original application.
But didn't the council deny the zone change?
They denied the zone change for C2.
Okay.
And asked that it be amended to P. That has not been acted on.
But I don't want to renew the going back to the C without the developer having to be the one who initiates that process and go through the regular process.
Okay. Then you would vote to not to approve the motion.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Alatorre.
Is that the initial application is still valid. All it is sending the matter back for consideration and let them make a decision. Now, you know what? I respect whether it's Ms. Walters or anybody else on the floor, and my history will speak for itself. I am making this request. I was not here. Communication was not delivered adequately and the like, and I'll accept that. But now it's a city councilman, is making a request for it to be considered by the Planning Commission. Real simple. I have done that for everybody here, and out of respect, as I respect Ms. Walters, what Ms. Walters does, and the great CD9, I have no problem with that. Allow the people, there's other sides to this. This is not just one-sided. So just allow the process to take place. We're not subverting the process, we're just allowing the process to take place and to see what can come back to us for the betterment, because this isn't just about this is about the livelihoods of people, and they have a right to live, and certainly the owner has a right to respect the people as well. Mine is to try and help out and resolve a situation that is critical, and it's still, the process is still open, and we're trying to get in through the process, and it's simple. So allow the process to take place, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote for my request. I've accepted the motion, the recommendation by Mr. Hernandez, so that, I'm not trying to, to subvert anything. All I want is for the process to work itself and come back to the council.
Mr. Burnson.
I think Ms. Miskowski made a very good point, but also the city attorney has advised us that this application is still valid because we have not taken an action on the P1, which was an alternative to the C2, so we could be in compliance with the community plan. Also in compliance with the community plan would be C4, which is currently what we're asking the commission to look at and reevaluate. It's an alternative to the C2. So this is not something extraordinary. I mean, we haven't had anything quite like this for a while, but I mean, it's not something that we're trying to subvert a process. Now, the commission may very well come back and say P1 is correct, go to the committee, and that will be it. But what Mr. Alatorre is asking is that they be given an opportunity to look at other uses which are consistent with the community plan, which other than P1, and that gives them the opportunity. So I don't think there's anything covert or anything about this. It's pretty straightforward. It goes back to the commission. The commission will make their ruling. It'll come back to Plum. Plum may do what they did before. They may do something different based upon that, but at least we have gone through the process of dealing with what's available under the community plan. So I would urge that we just send this with the amendments and with the change that I suggested, where we're not asking them to change it, we're asking them to look at it, other availabilities under the community plan.
Ms. Goldberg.
Mr. City Attorney, if we do nothing today, what happens?
Nothing.
The action of the City Council of October would stand, and the Planning Commission and Department would evaluate, would take an action on the P designation.
All right. They would have no alternatives? Could they look at this item even if we did nothing today?
There is a pending application before the Planning Department for the P-zone. They will make a recommendation to approve or disapprove the P-zone.
Okay, but that's the only thing they can look at. They
Yes.
can't look at anything else.
That's correct.
All right. If we were to ask them to look at that and all other possibilities, but without making a recommendation, then they could look at other possibilities?
As long as they were consistent with the plan, yes.
Okay. Because I don't have any objection to them looking at all possibilities that are consistent with the plan, but I'm not willing to pick among them and recommend.
Right, not right now. No, let's look at it.
So I am willing to do that, but I'm not willing to pick among them and recommend, because I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet. So if that's what you're asking for, okay, because this sounded like I was going to have to vote. I'm recommending one over the other, and I'm not willing to do that.
I can make one little other change in here other than evaluate. Instead of saying to TQC4-1, to evaluate all uses available under the community plan, other than C2.
Yeah, I think rather than listing all that stuff, I would just ask the Planning Commission to evaluate all uses that are legal under the plan, and to notify all members of the community that would have been notified had this been a new
Except
application.
C2, other than C2.
Okay,
that's fine.
listen, I was under the impression if we referred this back to the committee, we're not recommending, we're not denying, we're not doing anything, but just referring it back to committee.
To Plum?
To Plum Committee, yes.
Oh, I have no problem with doing that
That's
at
what-
all.
that's-
I have no problem.
The planning commission, it's to planning commission and to Plum.
All right, Mr. Hernandez?
City Attorney, I just need your direction here, because if we do nothing today, my understanding that the Planning Commission is reviewing the previous action, and there's nothing to stop the owner from initiating a new process. That's if we do nothing.
If the council does nothing or votes no on the motion, the Planning Commission would proceed on the P designation, and an applicant could process a new application for a zone change. That's correct.
I just want to make that part clear. Now, if we withdraw the first thereof, the zone change on the motion, then what are we sending back to the commission?
If we do what?
I am unclear what you would be sending back to the commission without the first paragraph.
He made the
We're sending back, we're asking the commission to evaluate what other uses are available under which are consistent with the community plan other than C2,
No,
which we
but
turned
Mr.
down.
Burchett, this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I need people to understand where I'm at, because
I can
think-
see where you're at.
I'm sure
You're
you
hiding
can.
this.
The reality is, this process cannot, basically, we as a council cannot take an action that doesn't allow the community to participate.
That's right.
Okay? And I need to know what guarantees that in this process, so that when the Planning Commission considers it, they listen to the sides, they understand if there's been compliance or not compliance before they make their decision.
They're gonna have, it's gotta come back to us, Mike, and they're gonna have to.
It has to go through back
It's
to
gotta
the
go
process, Mike.
Back through the
Well,
process.
again, and that's why I'm asking City Attorney for some clarity.
The Deputy Director for Planning is here, and you may wish to ask him about the process in the Planning Department.
Okay, and who is he and where is he at, so that we can understand what we're doing?
Frank Eberhard is coming up to the table.
Don't ask Frank Eberhard. Come on, Frank.
And members of council,
I
after
can
he
tell you
lets
before he
us know
gets here
that
that
process, is I honestly think that what we're looking for is this process, and we
It
want
has
to make sure it's initiated.
Mike, anything other than P1, okay? Anything other than P1 has to come back through the process, okay?
Okay, I just...
Frank Eberhard, Deputy Director of City Planning. If you adopt the current motion, the Director of Planning would review that against the current action of the Planning Commission on the application that was before it, and would determine whether to approve or disapprove it based on the original action of the Planning Commission.
How about the community participation in that process, Frank?
The current normal practice is that the Director of Planning acts on behalf of the commission. There's usually not a meeting of the commission on that matter.
Yes, but the council is specifically referring it back to the commission with this motion.
If the council, the director has it at his discretion to bring it in front of the planning commission. If the council so desires, he could do that. Not as a public hearing, but as a reconsideration.
Okay, well, the motion will be then to direct the Director of Planning to bring it before the commission.
Mr. Fuhr has the floor.
I think we're actually going the same place. Can we achieve everybody's goals by using the evaluation language which Mr. Bernson recommends and accompanying what is before us with a direction to the Planning Commission to hold a noticed public hearing before they make a final determination?
You can do that, Council.
All right, I will so move.
That's not our normal practice, but we
All right,
can do
Ms.
that.
Misakowski?
Clarify that be a noticed public hearing in not just the commission agenda, but notice to the property owners in the designated
I want all
area.
these people to be able
Right, and the other thing that we might want to consider, as we've asked them to only consider the ranges in the community plan, it might be appropriate at that time for them to consider consider the council motion of October 21st, which did initiate the plan amendment to say that this should be residential and not commercial. So
But it's, Cindy, they're going to consider all options.
no, Richard, no. Per the language, and this is why the language that we're using today is very critical. If we say that they will only consider what the community plan now says, it says community commercial. Based on a recommendation that the council received from your office during that time that you weren't here, you indicated that there was inconsistency in the Boyle Heights plan. I'm reading from a letter that you wrote on October 8th, and it says that the community plan should be changed in the update, and they should be changed to residential. That residential is not before the commission under this action unless we also ask them, in evaluating everything, all of the council's actions on this, then that they can also consider the amendment to the Boyle Heights Community Plan. And so I would add that they consider it at the time that they consider this zoning action, the general plan amendment action, with a duly noticed public hearing to all property owners.
Ms. Goldberg?
I thought we were just agreed that we were going to return this to Plum. We're not going to do that. Okay.
Nobody agreed yet.
Okay, well, I thought that the chair had said that was what we were going to do, and that's why
It was
I'm
my
confused.
understanding it was going to be referred back to committee and including the commission.
To the commission.
Commission.
Commission first or Plum first?
Commission first.
Commission first. Okay.
All right, Mrs. Walters?
Mr. President, I guess I need some instruction on a point of order. As I understand it, for something to be referred anywhere from this point, we have to take a vote on it. Is that correct, or there has to be consensus on it?
If we refer something, yes.
If we refer something, all right. So no vote has been taken, so that's not referred back until such a vote is taken. Is that correct?
It's my understanding there's a motion to refer the matter back to the commission and Plum. Is that right?
It's the amendment introduced by Mr. Fuhrer.
As amended.
And it requires a vote before it can be referred.
Yes, of course.
All right, so there's no consensus that it be referred until a vote is taken.
Right.
Okay,
So,
okay.
let's open
We
it.
have a motion to refer.
Right, move it.
Prepare the roll. Okay.
Close the roll. Oh, come on, we're in the middle of a roll.
Don't, oh, come on. Does the referral include the language that Ms.
Yes.
Misakowski and Mr. Fuhrer
As
added?
amended.
Yes.
As amended by both of
Can
them.
you read what we're referring?
Exactly.
Clerk.
Come on, let's go, John.
Okay, Councilmember Councilmember Fuhr's motion was to direct the Planning Commission to look at all the zoning options, and also to consider the October 21st motion in that, and to direct the Planning Commission to hold a notice public hearing to all the property owners.
All things that are consistent with the plan. And Ms. Misakowski added, in addition to that, to look at a possible plan change, plan amendment.
October 21st motion
yeah.
that she mentioned, which the council
Okay, I want
adopted,
that
saying
clear
change the
in there.
plan to residential medium.
All right, open.
Okay. Open the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, that is referred back.
Thank you. Forthwith.
Forthwith. Okay. All right, the matter has gone back to the Planning Commission and Planning Plum. Okay, the next item is going to be...
Item number 39.
39. We do have people who want to be heard on 39. We're going to recommend a 5-minute public hearing on each side. Bill Canati. Bill Colcott, I'm sorry. The other microphone.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Bill Colcott. I submitted a proposal to the Community Redevelopment Agency concerning the 42 acres in North Hollywood. The other person that submitted an offer, his proposal had been selected, and we went to We went to the CRA field office. We were shown a copy of a Kaiser Marston report done by the CRA. And this Kaiser Marston report clearly shows that we were the party that should have been selected. The Kaiser Marston report has been suppressed by the CRA.
That's a
The
first.
CRA has not released the report. And I believe that it is everybody's duty here to look at that report before making any decision on this. It was a report specifically done to compare the two projects. I think it would be doing a service to the people of North Hollywood and the people in Los Angeles overall. I would like each member of this council to read that report. It is very crucial. It has been suppressed, and Mr. Savornich asked to read it. They told him he could not read it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get a report. Robert Cernman. Zula Bond.
Hello, my name is Ilya Bond. I represent Academy Media Partners. As Mr. Kokot pointed out, we did have a meeting with Mr. Wax's office and Mr. Savornovich and presented him with the fact that we do believe this report is critical to your understanding of this process. It is a project, rather it is a $300 million project in North Hollywood, as you know. We believe we're definitely overqualified for this particular project in all its phases. We have all of our financing lined up, and frankly want a little bit less from the city than the opposition. We would strongly suggest you vote against this recommendation and send it back to the CRA for additional deliberation. Thank you.
Okay. Nick Angelo.
My name is Nick Angelos, and according to the RFP that was submitted, the requirements were that there be 42 acres, that the RFP be based on the 42 acres, and which is what ours did. The Jarco did not. They placed theirs on a larger amount of property, which was later changed without our knowing. The amount of property owned was not a criteria condition for the RFP. Whereas the decision by the CRA was based on that, and they indicated that very highly. If you were to listen, sir, to the recorded tapes of the CRA presentation and to the PAC group, and listen to those tapes as far as the answers that were conducted by the CRA through Lillian Birkenheim, and compare that to the Kaiser Marston report, you'll find great disparities in that report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Howard Watts.
Thank you, John. First of all, the people that just spoke should have gotten the contract, not the guy that got it, Jarko. I didn't care for that activity. It's been reduced to 30 instead of 40. It's obvious that this thing has to be taken into a court of law because the manner in which this was given to the Radford, I think his name is, was obviously the CRA must have gotten money from him to offset the other party that wanted it, the people that just spoke. I think they're the ones who should have gotten it. They're much more reasonable in North Hollywood, and this never should have gotten to this far to the council without that possibility. As you heard about the Marsden report, I told the gentleman when he was at CRA to use the Public Records Act section to get the Marsden report. I don't know whether he used it or not. 54950 to 54962. Obviously, if they refuse him, then he has a right to go to court to get the documents after he did that.
Howard,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, those in favor, J. Allen Radford, and then Tom McCarthy.
My name is Alan Radford. I am the managing partner of Jarco SLG&G. We are the selected developers to proceed with the negotiations with the CRA to develop a mixed-use project in the North Hollywood area. This would consist of 10 sound stages of 18,000 square feet each, with post and pre-production offices to support those, along with a number of garden offices and office buildings along Lankershim. We have the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, which are our neighbor to the south, and the Metro Red Line, which is our neighbor to the north. We are the largest single landowner within the district, and we have our team assembled, our financing in place to complete our first phase, which would include the sound stages and all the buildings which would support that. We are ready to move forward with council approval and are thrilled to be there in North Hollywood. It has long been neglected, and it is time for North Hollywood to have its turn in the East Valley, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Tom McCarty and then Arthur Sweet. Is Arthur Sweet, Jack McGrath. Robert Vogel. Would you give your name, please?
Yes, sir. My name is Robert Vogel. I am the project manager for the Jarco team. Our goal in this project is to create a state-of-the-art soundstage facility with garden office and support that will provide an outstanding opportunity for urban infill, as well as maximize utilization of the mass transit station at the site. We're very excited about where we are and look very forward to get going and building this wonderful project. Thank you.
Okay. Your name, please?
Robert Sarin. I'm sorry I wasn't here a minute ago. I had to take a short break.
Oh, okay. You know, we always have to do that.
I represent International Culinary Institute. I'm hoping to bring a School of the Culinary Arts to North Hollywood. A world-class restaurant. Banquet facilities for 600 to 1,000 people. And I'm kind of upset. I've heard the Kaiser Marston statement. I've heard what everybody's had to say. But I'm feeling that there is a lack of common sense. At the last meeting on May 5th, they basically stated that they were concerned about the Jarco financial posture. They then started discussing exit strategy if it doesn't work. You have two fine builders. I have no bad words to say about Mr. Radford or Jarco, but what I don't understand is instead of awarding this to one builder that might take 10 years plus to get it done and have North Hollywood torn up for 10 years, why they don't give phase one to Mr. Radford, Jarco, and give phase two and phase three to the ANCO group, who has 100% of their financing in place, 100% of their pre-lease done, and they have no problems. They can start immediately. So my recommendation to this honorable council is that the position be modified. Why not have two people, two groups, handling a project, getting it done better, getting it done quicker, and getting it done cheaper? Thank you.
Okay, can we get a report from the CRA, and the rest of the cards will be made part of the file?
Mr. President, members of the council, the agency went through an extensive RFP and selection process on this. The selection process included an analysis of a wide variety of information and data with respect to the proposals. We think both developers are fine developers. We had agency staff as well as outside consultants, staff from the council offices, as well as staff from the mayor's office participate with us in the selection process. We believe it was a fair selection process. One of the things which the selection committee did look at during the selection process was proprietary data that had been submitted by both teams. This is information on their own particular financial status and condition, and the reason why it was presented to our consultant, Kaiser Marston, is because that both of the submitters had requested that this be kept as proprietary data. That information was presented to the selection panel, and it was one of the criteria that the panel looked at in the selection of the recommended developer. They looked at that data as well as other things having to do with design, the nature of the project which was being proposed, and other factors related to each development. The selection panel was quite unanimous in terms of its recommendation for the JARCO team. We believe that they are a good team. We have looked at the qualifying conditions that the CAO and the CLA have recommended for this particular project and are in agreement with those. We will be imposing milestones and timetables on the chosen developer to ensure that they comply with the timetables that the CLA has recommended. And we'll also be reporting back to the council periodically on the status of the negotiations. This is a 180-day negotiation period recommendation. It is not a recommendation for any project. The recommendation before you is to go into an exclusive negotiation with the recommended team.
Okay. All right, Mr. Savornich?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move the communication from the chair of the committee, please.
Okay, Mr. Wax?
Make an amendment or two in a moment. But, Mr. President, members of council, this is a really important day for both of our districts since we share this property. The first phase of the development being in my district, the other phases being mostly in Mr. Ferraro, some in my district. And it really is a major step forward to revitalizing North Hollywood as the entertainment, as a major entertainment center that we have envisioned for many, many years. When we first started this redevelopment project back in the 70s, and all along we have thought that the one thing that North Hollywood could make North Hollywood successful would be its emphasis on the arts, on entertainment, and it's finally now coinciding very, very well with the completion of the Red Line, which we planned very carefully to have its terminus at Lankershim and Chandler, which is adjacent to this property, as well as to the increasingly prominent position of the entertainment industry in the economy and the social fabric of our city. You basically have two developers before you, and they're both good. I mean, this is like my staff said, this is like, you know, when the Giants tried to decide, do they keep Steve Young or do they keep Montana? You know, they're both very, very good. I think on balance, the recommendation to go with JARCO, particularly for the first phase, makes a lot of sense. They own about 40+% of the property in the first phase, and it would be almost impossible to go with the other one if they own the property and they didn't want to particularly sell it to a competing developer. I was disappointed that the CRA did not recommend the kind of benchmarks and the kind of exit strategy with regards to phases 2 and 3 that the CLA and CAO recommended, and I'm going to recommend that the council approve that any of the benchmarks adopted by the CRA and as well as the exit strategy be not just reported to the council, but be approved by the council so that we're sure that they have the substance that's needed. The report that's been mentioned is really important, however. I think that the CRA made a grave mistake in keeping hidden the Kaiser Marston report. If we have learned one lesson in City Hall, it should be you don't hide things because it makes it look like you have something to hide. Period. And that lesson has been taught over and over and over again. Now, I have seen that report. We have that report. We have talked with the people, and quite frankly, I think that they would feel very comfortable with either of the two for phase 1, and I think that they had problems with both of the groups for phase 2. I think that they thought that JARCO was little bit like, and they were coming from Pluto, just thinking they're going to get 1.5 million square feet and all, that was not realistic perhaps, or that they might not be able to do it. And they had a lot of questions about the culinary facility and the amphitheater and the other things from the other proposal. That's why we need the benchmarks and why we need the exit strategy, but we don't want to delay this. It is the time to move ahead in North Hollywood. And phase 1 is doable. It can happen. It can hopefully be the stimulus for phases 2 and 3. Maybe they're both going to change it. Maybe they're going to get together. We're going to see what happens with 2 and 3, but I don't want the debate on 2 and 3 to hold back 1, because 1 can start tomorrow. So I'm going to move that we amend the report before us simply by saying that the benchmarks, both the benchmarks and the exit strategy, come back to the council for approval before they remain effective. And I'm really excited by this, and I think we have a great project.
I want to second
going.
your motion, Mr. Wax. I agree with you. Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. The question that I want to raise, the firm Academy Media Center sent a letter to Mr. Savornich and a copy to the members of of all the council. And they say in here, addressing the statement to Mr. Savornich, that as you are aware, you requested, speaking of Mr. Savornich, a copy of the Kaiser Marston report, and you were told it was proprietary and you could not review this report. That is ridiculous. What kind of report is prepared at city expense that is not a public document? The only thing that I understand are not public documents are personnel records, legal opinions or legal advice from the city attorney to the council in a matter of that's in litigation. This is beyond comprehension.
In this instance, we asked each side to present information on their particular financial status and situation with respect to the funds that they had, and both sides agreed that they did not want that data made available to the public because it was proprietary, having to do with their particular financial situation. And so as a consequence, we had the Kaiser Marston firm analyze that data for us and present an analysis of that data.
That's untrue, Ms. Walter. Well, I hear the other side saying it's not true. And I don't know what's true and
Ms.
what's...
Waller, you want to realize that they were not selected, and so that's probably a little sour grapes on their part.
But whatever the motivation may be, Mr. President, I am concerned, and I want a commitment to this council that no documents will be denied the public, except those that can legally be done so.
Well, I think that where there's confidential information, it certainly should be available to the committee. And I know you're on the committee, Mrs. Walters, but Ms. Galander, you have the floor.
If I may, just real quick, on my time, because I didn't take all my time.
Go ahead.
I have not heard that the report was denied to the chair of the committee. How is it that it's okay for CRA to see the report, but it's not okay for a council member?
That's not correct. We've contacted James on a couple of occasions trying to get him the information as
Because I was going to hand it to him.
Okay.
We've been trying to get it to James.
All right, Ms. Galander.
I have a completely different question. I have been told recently, kind of out there in the world, that I believe it's this project is one that will incorporate a number of features of sustainable building. And if it isn't, I would like to see that done. If it is true, it would have been nice for somebody to mention it, because I think that these are the kinds of projects where we are actually able to make serious progress and serious public statements for all developers and builders in this town, as well as for our residents and the rest of the the world that we can and will and do take a leadership role here in the city of Los Angeles. And this is an issue we didn't discuss with respect to Playa Vista, but it's certainly my experience there has taught me that the bigger the project, the easier it is to do something like that and have a really significant impact. So could somebody just tell me if that's indeed part of this?
Yes, it is. They already have a sustainable development team, some of which have been working on Playa Vista as well. So they've developed some of that experience that they're bringing over.
Thank you. And I really do think that the agency, as well as, I think the agency would do well to put those kinds of requirements into any future projects in which we participate, and certainly that even if you don't, the private developers would do well to do it, because it lowers the operating costs of the development quite significantly. And we ought to brag about it when we do it.
Okay, we have the communication from the chair as amended by Mr. Wax. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send that forthwith, and we'll also send, I think we sent 48 forthwith, didn't we? Okay. Mr. Fuhr, which one did you want to take?
We can take 31 and 32, please, John.
Joel?
Yeah.
31 and 32, we have a lot of people want to be heard.
All right. Well, you know, let me say, there have been numerous extensive public hearings in committee. Why don't we hear like 10 minutes on each side? I see the number of cards, but 10 minutes on each side. Supplementing what we've already done should be sufficient.
Okay. I don't know who, we're talking about 32.
Yeah, principally the comments will be on 32, I expect.
Okay. Kenneth Lesser? Kenneth Lesser? Oh, there you are.
If he turns it on. He's turning it on now. On? Yes. Yeah, it's on. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Is it on, please?
That's why I wanted to take 39. Before I got out of
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm the president of the Association of City Employees with Disabilities, which is the city's minority employment organization. We recommend that the $10 million and maybe even more be spent yearly on the curb ramps, because this all goes back to the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is the civil rights legislation for people with disabilities. Without the implementation of the curb ramps and the sidewalk problems, it segregates us from the rest of the world. It's just, you know, it's the same as, you know, the civil rights legislation in '64 that was passed to prevent in being segregated. I understand that you know, there are a lot of different reasons and desires to have this money spent in other areas, but the ADA also has penalties if the City of Los Angeles does not comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Those penalties are that all federal funding can be refused the City of Los Angeles until they come into compliance. So does this body want to face the situation where hundreds of millions of dollars that come into the city for transportation, for housing, for job training, for community development, for urban development, For economic development, I don't think you do. So that's my statement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Sally Acosta, followed by Stephen Gallegos.
My name is Sally Acosta. To the members of this honorable city councilman, I live on 438 North Arden Boulevard, and that is the District 4. I would like to respectfully request the council to approve this measure that you have stated here in this item 32, because of the following. Number one, we represent the council. I'm president of the Council on Aging, and I represent the over 500,000 senior citizens across the city of the 15 city council districts. And by the year 2000 and over, the 80-plus population will be so many, and and they are very frail. I need to recommend this to be approved, because the federal government does not fund what it approves as their laws. The unfunded federal mandate that city has to comply with, like the ADA, in the last 5 years is out of compliance, because the city general fund does not have those funds for those particular. They do not have the discretionary funds for that to bring the city into compliance in a reasonable time frame. We are able to do this without raising taxes if you approve this, and the county is getting $3.5 billion, and the state will get $25 billion. That's $28.5 billion monies that we could ask from them to help the other tobacco programs. So that is my recommendation for this 10 million curb funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stephen Gallegos, followed by Suzanne, is it Cohen? Cohen.
Good afternoon, members of the council. My name is Stephen Gallegos. I'm the Director of Public Advocacy for the American Heart Association. And I'm coming here before you today to just talk about the merits of the tobacco settlement, the master settlement agreement, the fact that the purpose of the action or the lawsuit by the city was to seek damages for the harmful effects of tobacco products caused to our citizens by the effects from its use. It seems like this money has become a free-for-all for every program in city government except what it was intended for. Now, the one thing that I suppose that we're very concerned with is the fact that our mayor's come out with a proposal to cut city curbs has really, for the rest of the country, made Los Angeles kind of like the laughingstock of what can be done with these funds. Now, the one thing about these funds is they're a windfall, basically. There's an idea around that hasn't really even been addressed. If the fact that they're going to use the funds for cuts in the curbs, when that cement is wet, why can't we stamp in that wet cement an anti-tobacco slogan? It says stomp on tobacco or walk over smoking abuse, so that we can have these curbs cut and we can also have anti-tobacco messages in these curbs. Obviously, as we walk down our streets, we see the stamping of every contractor that worked in our neighborhoods. Why not add something like that to these curbs on the wet cement if it's going to take place? The bottom line is, each day in California, over 300 children begin smoking. And the one thing we're, as the American Heart Association, is in support of is we support the licensing of tobacco products at the retail and wholesale level. We support law enforcement of the smoke-free workplace and bar law. We support eliminating the access and therefore the temptation of tobacco products to all children under the legal age. Because, thank you very much. I just wanted to say that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I think we should take full advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne Cohen, followed by Commissioner Janet Neal. Are either of them here? Yeah, come forward, please. There you are.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Janet Neal. Suzanne Cohen had to leave.
Okay.
She had another meeting. I'm here to support the proposal from the Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee that we go forward with the plan to do the curb cuts in the city of Los Angeles. The commission is 100% behind that. Commissioner Billy Barty, one of the vice presidents of the commission, had also written a letter in support of this. And personally, I hope that we can go forward with this plan. I know I've been waiting for 4 years for a curb cut near my home. I live near the Baldwin Hills Mall in the 8th District. So I'm just hoping that this will happen so we can continue to have our international role model status. Thank you.
Marianne Glicksman, followed by Jeffrey Gilbert.
Keep going, Joel.
We're okay. And Howard Watts?
Thank you, Joe. I'm for curb cuts, but I'm not for the new ones that are coming about around the Metro Rail stations. They got bumps in them. They almost they look like measles. I cannot believe these curb cuts have been placed in some of the areas downtown. Joe, you need to go and check, and this council need to go and check what these curb cuts look like. They're mainly for the blind who has to use a cane to see just exactly where they're walking, and I'm for that. But I think they need to put something else there if they're going to use it just for them. This would then be violating all kinds of ADA violations. If you do not, like you could put those bumps on the sides of the curb cuts, but not all over the curb cuts. They're like pimples or whatever you want to call them. I've seen them, and I could not believe it. It seems to me somebody who gets on a wheelchair could be falling off the side of these things because they are bumps, really. That's all they are. There's about 20 bumps on the darn thing. And I'd sure like to find out which contractor has put those stupid things in. Flat curb cuts are okay, but not these kind that I've seen in or around that Metro Rail station, Joe. I think the council has to start, instead of walking around and talking to everybody, start listening to the public about this. Unless we need to get a film or a copy, photocopy of what I'm talking about, I don't think the public will understand what we are talking about and what they are asking for here. I'm not against the blind with their no sight type of document or equipment that they have to use, but it's obviously this is not the kind of curb cuts that we need in the city of Los Angeles, and I hope somebody will go and investigate it by having a photograph of that type of curb cut that I'm objecting to.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Commissioner David Wolf, followed by Q. Smith. K-I-E-U. You'll help me on the pronunciation if I'm mistaken.
Thank you, members of the council. I am here in full support of the Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee recommendation to use the tobacco settlement funds for curb cut compliance with the ADA. I would like to remind the council of two basic issues. I believe that this is extremely important because ADA compliance to us is equally as important as civil rights compliance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Secondly, I would like to remind the council that a number of other people, besides people with disabilities, can use curb cuts. People, mothers who are pregnant, parents with strollers, etc. I would also like to remind the council that you yourselves are only temporarily able-bodied. So voting yes on this recommendation would mostly very much help yourselves. I would like to thank the council for its attention and for its very positive and proactive action in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wolf. Q. Smith, followed by Esther Schiller.
Good afternoon. My name is Q. Smith, and I'm a veteran tobacco prevention advocate for the Watts Health Foundation. And over the past 5 years, me and over 100 dedicated LA youth have worked together to try to create tobacco-free communities. We have partnered with city and state officials like yourselves to reduce the illegal sales of cigarettes to minors. And so, as one who has worked really hard to get the legislation to what this money is coming from, this money should definitely be used for its intention, which was to reduce the illegal sales of tobacco to minors. If it does need to be used for curb cuts, what is wrong with stamping signs in the cement are nailing in signs which do reflect anti-tobacco attitudes while also giving disabled people access that they need. This money was intended to reduce tobacco sales to minors. And I'm not sure you guys know how important that is, but most smokers start before the age of 18. So if we can use this money to reduce tobacco access to minors as it was intended, we will be saving ourselves from a number of the cancers, heart, lung, you guys know the cancer. So we should use the money as it's intended, and this would be using the money as it's intended by stamping in signs and such in the curbs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Esther Schiller, followed by Maureen Mann.
I'd like to thank the City Council for all the wonderful things that they've done through the years for tobacco control. Our organization, Safe Smoke-Free Air for Everyone, also advocates for persons with disabilities. When tobacco smoke is present in a workplace or a public place, there is a whole range of people who can't come in. People with asthma, heart disease, cystic fibrosis, lupus, sickle cell anemia, and many people who use wheelchairs are also having difficulty breathing. We understand and we respect the need for curb cuts, but we also urge that enough money be put aside to effectively enforce the tobacco control laws that are now on the books, and also to consider that there are more tobacco control laws that need to be put on the books. We're delighted that the city attorney has received money to enforce the laws that are on the books, but we worry that it's not enough. We think that it's wonderful that the City Council is going to enact a law to license retailers, but we also are concerned that the City Council enact a law to put the tobacco products behind the counter or not in self-service displays so that they're not so accessible to minors. If you're going to do work in the parks, we suggest that for the sake of our children, the zoo and the parks, where we have the recreation areas for the children, and any theme parks in the city of LA, these should all be smoke-free. That's what it means to have a smoke-free society, and that was the goal that was set up by former Surgeon General Koop. And by the way, outdoors secondhand smoke is still a problem with people with certain disabilities. The tobacco industry is so clever. In one Eastern European country, a tobacco company offered to pay for all the traffic signals. Now, when the light turns green, it shows the outline of a camel. We're asking that the City Council be innovative and imaginative and clever with this tobacco settlement money. Look for ways to integrate the tobacco issue into the use of this money. You need to remember that this money is covered with blood. Enough of it must be set aside. 12%, not 6%. 12 to 15%, not 6%, for tobacco enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schiller. Maureen Mann, followed by Julian Warner. Mr. Mann.
On behalf of the Cambodian Association of America, Marin Man on my left, and I, Sawan Kumar Lin, are pleased to be here. While mobilities and access issues are very important to us, we would like the City Council to know that tobacco prevention is equally important. Please do not miss the opportunity to put tobacco prevention message just to the curb cuts. Mr. Marin Man would like to stress to the council that he's been having problems breathing when people smoke around him. Therefore, he strongly supports the tobacco message on the curb cuts and equally supports the tobacco prevention program. Thank you.
Thank you. Julian Warner, followed by Elijah, is it Corder? He's gone. Mark Freeman? And Christopher Knopf. The last card I have.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Christopher Knopf. I'm a staff attorney with the Western Law Center for Disability Rights. We're a nonprofit law office. We represent the tax-paying citizens of Los Angeles with disabilities, and we urge that the council support Councilman Feuer's proposal. Council members, the curb cuts are not optional. The curb cuts are mandatory under the ADA. I think we all know that. Up to this point, it's been a lack of funding and a lack of political will. Today, we're presented with the funding, and now we need the political will to do these curb cuts, and we would like them to be performed yesterday, if possible. The only option that we have, if this funding is not used for the curb cuts, is to file suit under the ADA. Our co-counsel and ourselves, as well as assistants with the Department of Justice, are prepared to do that if necessary. We don't want to. Let's do it now, and let's not have to raise taxes in order to pay for it in the future. Thanks very much.
All right, that completes the public hearing. The chair recognizes Councilman Feuer.
President, with very deep apologies to everybody who has an opportunity to speak today. Since this meeting began, we now have gotten down to a mere 10 members, which is the bare quorum that we have, and I'm going to move under those circumstances to continue the matter until Friday the 21st, which is a week from Friday. I hate to have to come back again, but unfortunately the press of other matters, I guess, has created where we are. So that's my motion to continue to Friday the 21st.
Chair recognizes Councilman Goldberg.
Yes, I'd just like to ask whether all council members have seen the recommendations of the Public Health Task Force regarding expenditure of the city's share of tobacco settlement money dated April 21st. Have you all received a copy of this? I'd like to request that the CLA make sure that every member gets a copy of this. And the reason that I want to say that we need copies of this is because on a motion by Mr. Ridley Thomas and signed by Mr. Feuer, Ms. Mizikowski, Mr. Wax, and Mr. Hernandez, we actually have had a very distinguished group of 15 doctors, public policy directors, community-based advocates for health and welfare, 15 very prominent people who have actually looked at and made recommendations for this funding. And I think that we ought to be discussing those recommendations as well. In addition to which, on your desk, titled number 32 is a recommendation that I personally want to throw in the hopper, which deals with helping to set up a school-based clinic, which the county will fund. All this is seed money in each council district, which would altogether serve about 300,000 students forever, because the county is going to pick up and the federal government is going to pick up the costs of running them. This is just a one-time capital outlay to get them up and running. Mostly, I just want to make sure that we are going to do something to take into account the fact that if we don't deal with prevention, there isn't enough enforcement in the world to do anything about this problem. I will tell you that I have been an advocate of curb cuts since I was on the school board. We have to have both the will and the money to do it. I do not believe it's either or. I do not believe that we can only use tobacco money for curb cuts. I do think that there are ways that we could do this. I am embarrassed that we need to be sued. I am embarrassed that we need to be threatened. We have not had this money put in the budget. We didn't find out that we were out of compliance with ADA yesterday or last month or even 6 months ago. We've known about this for several years. The budgets that have been given to the council, and frankly, the council's amendments to those budgets have not reflected an interest in taking care of curb cuts. But I am not willing, as one member of this body, to simply say that curb cuts are the only need that needs to be funded out of this. The $10 million for curb cuts needs to be found and needs to be found now, but it does not all need to come from tobacco money. And I think we should look at these other documents and raise some real dialogue about how this money ought to be spent.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Chick.
I'm going to move the previous question.
Is there any objection to previous question?
I was just going to make one small remark.
Well, okay, it takes 10 votes, and there's only 10 here, so since it won't pass, do you want to make any comments, or? I have Mr. Hernandez next, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Okay, I originally had pushed my button to speak, and at the request of my colleague, was moving the previous question. If
We'll
others
let
want
you
to
speak
speak,
if you
then...
wish to. You want to speak? Go ahead.
I was going to point out, similarly to Councilmember Goldberg, that for me this isn't a question of either or. The speakers that I heard were making very important and legitimate points. What is somewhat staggering is that we have all known about what we are, the mandate that we're under, and more importantly, we've all known the very important human needs that need to be met. A rhetorical question for the moment that I do want a real answer to when this comes back is if this tobacco settlement didn't occur, what in heaven's name were we planning to do to meet the needs of ADA requirements? And then I will close with the following point. If not the plan that's been suggested to us by Mr. Fewer, and I do have some questions about it, and I do have interest in looking at what probably in my heart and soul I feel are more appropriate uses with stronger connections to the tobacco settlement suit, then what is the alternate plan that we're coming up with? We simply cannot say no to this alternative without coming up with a solution, which, as far as I can see, would be our general fund. Thank you.
Recognizes Councilman Hernandez.
I just wanted to make a request that some further information come to us before we deal with this, and I guess you wanted to continue it till when? A week from Friday. Mr. Waxel, remember, I've been dealing with this issue since I've been on the council, and that's like 8 years. And when I talk about this issue, I'm talking about accessibility in terms of curb cuts. It's been a major issue, and members of the council, I don't know how to explain this, but it's real. On Avenue 43 in Carlota, in my district, the Department of Water and Power just finished working on a curb. They were changing some electrical conduit, and it was a natural place to put a curb cut, and they didn't do that. They did not do that. And I know I've had discussions with the Department of Transportation about when they do traffic signals, and the reality is they're cutting concrete and they're working next to corners. How often do they do curb cuts? And they basically told me they don't have the personnel to do that kind of work. Now, the information I'm asking for, because I understand the importance of curb cuts, and I now understand the Department of Justice, I think it's important that as part of our action, we have a report from all the independent authorities that do work on our sidewalks. That includes the Department of Engineers, who restructured a bridge in my district without curb cuts, and that they tell us what is their plans within their departments on curb cuts. I think it's easy for us to allocate funding because it's a settlement money, but I really want to see if there's a commitment on behalf of the city to deal with this issue on the long-term range. And I've been trying to get that kind of stuff done for 7 years, Mike. Don't get me wrong. It's just...
outrageous that we build things without putting curb cuts.
And so I'd like to get a report from the independent authorities, Department of Water and Power, Department of Transportation, engineers, as to, aside from the money we set aside for curb cuts as part of the council budget, that they tell us how it is, how many curb cuts they've been working on outside of that realm.
Well, and even more to the point, why they don't put curb cuts in automatically when they're doing infrastructure.
Well, and there's been motions instructing them to do that. And again,
yeah, I think it's terrific.
The plan is not there, and I want that to be part of this plan. And I understand, I just got a report from the mayor's office in terms of the ADA that was submitted by street maintenance in regards to this program. But I want to supplement it with that information so that I could look at it.
Strong second. Good. Okay. That's a good idea.
Chair recognizes Councilman Ridley Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I think it should be noted that from the very point of notification of the settlement funds, many of us began thinking about how it is that we would prudently and effectively utilize these resources to promote good things with respect to tobacco prevention efforts, as well as some of the other needs that the city has. It should be noted that the matter was heard in Arts, Health, and Humanities. The chair of the committee, Mr. Fuhr, sat on more than one occasion grappling with how to deal with the issues that are before us and tried to balance a range of competing claims and pressing issues. I just simply wish to say that as a result of more work, and I think the week and a half that we have said that we would spend trying to make this come together could prove to be useful, and Mr. Fuhr has committed himself to continuing to put effort into it personally as well as his staff. Mrs. Goldberg's observation about the motion that was introduced in November or December of last year is one that I think we ought to remain faithful to in terms of input from the public health experts in our community. This does not for one moment suggest that we should abandon, neglect, or not attend to the business of the curb cuts because of the pressing concerns that have been called to our attention. I rise to say that I think that these issues can be reconciled in an appropriate way. I had hoped that when we were discussing this in the Capital Improvements Ad Hoc Committee, that the matter would have been taken more seriously in terms of the demands from the Department of Justice. They were handled dismissively by some elements in our city. Now we are essentially up against the wall, but that does not mean that we should ignore the range of issues that can be brought to bear, and I'm confident with our best foot being put forward that we can come up with something that we can all embrace by a week from this Friday. So I'm supportive of the motion to continue as indicated by Mr. Fuhr, and am prepared to lend an assist to the extent that it's possible to get us where we need to be so that we can move on with these resources and do good by the citizens of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Chair recognizes Councilman Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Goldberg presented her proposal for school clinics in committee, and I was very taken with that proposal because I know what school clinics would benefit. They can have in a community. When we opened the first clinic in the school district at Jordan High School, the impact was immediate and it was very strong. And one of the things that the doctors found, people were concerned about whether or not the clinics were going to be giving birth control information or birth control devices. But the saddest thing that we found was that they found so many youngsters who had deficient sight, who were desperate for dental work, who had other severe health problems that had been present for a number of years. We're talking about reaching grossly underserved populations medically here, and I certainly would like to see some of this money go to developing such clinics, particularly when we have an opportunity to get operating funds from other sources. I'm also not unaware of the need for the curb cuts. We absolutely do need curb cuts. The other day, I was driving along 3rd Street and saw new curb cuts going in, and I was delighted to see that we are making some curb cuts someplace in the city, and we need to make more of them. And I'm also an ardent anti-smoking person, anti-tobacco person. So it's not as though if you support one, you're not supporting the other. I support all three, but I think that we do need to take a careful look at this and come to some conclusion about what we're going to do with it. And I think those three uses are indeed uses that are direly needed in the community.
I think Ms. Chick's question was the really interesting one. What would he have done if we didn't even have this money? Okay, that completes the request to be heard. This can be continued to a week from Friday. Yes, without objection, that'll be the order. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Item number 2 is a required public hearing item. After the hearing, you should continue the hearing and the ordinance to June 2nd.
All right, I have a request from Mr. Michael Hyatt. Mr. Hyatt here? Well, this will be continued, and the public hearing will remain open then, so Mr. Hyatt will have a chance again. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Items 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all public convenience or necessity items.
Okay, there's a request to be heard on item 3. Mr. Art Rodriguez, he's for it, so he'll be brief.
Good afternoon. Very briefly, just to introduce myself, I represent Rite Aid and Sunland Produce. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
All right, any members of council wish to be heard? If not, open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
That's approved. Item 4, there's a request to be heard. The card has been removed. Anyone here on item 4? If not, any discussion? Open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
That's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Item 5 is also a public convenience or necessity.
Anyone here on well, there's no cards on item 5. Anyone in the audience wish to speak on item 5? If not, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion? Open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
It's approved. Number 6, Madam Clerk. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on item 6? If not, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion? Open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
That's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Item number 30 called special. You have cards?
I do have a card on number 30. Mr. Manuel Flores, would you like to come forward, Mr. Flores? No, I don't know. Item 30.
Good afternoon, Councilman. My name is Manuel Flores, and I'm the owner of the property at 300 North Parkview. I own 94% of the property. This property was deeded over to me over a period of months from various owners because a lot of problems with the property. One of the main problems was illegal liens by DWP on the property, one filed in 1993 and the other one filed in 1996. With the help of Claudia Guillen of Mrs. Goldberg's office, we were able to remove that. But I have a first trustee holder on the property who shackled me because they reneged on the transaction or an agreement that we had on the property. But we are now moving forward because 2 days ago, I had a meeting, a general council meeting, and they filed that this was an emergency situation, which I now have funds so I can start working on the property. I would like to move to postpone enactment on this for 30 days, which will allow me to repair the property, because I'm finally being able to do that. Secondly, I'd like to remove tenant number 207 from this enrollment because his children are the ones that are causing a lot of problems here. There's no sense that we should reward him for allowing his children to destroy the property. Item number 3 is there's 2 properties that are directly adjacent to mine at the rear. One is owned by the Los Angeles Teachers Credit Union, and the other one is owned by the City of Los Angeles. One of those properties has a drainage line which dumps onto my property, which undermined an embankment. I would like to have somebody help me to determine who is dumping that water onto this property, because if I repair it, all I'm going to do is turn around and have it undermined again. We're going to have that problem all over again. If the city is responsible, I'm not asking you to pay for it. Just assist me with a low-interest loan so that I can repair that embankment. I'm not here to try and take advantage of any situation. I'm here to make a difference. I want to try and do something with this property. I have other properties that will generate much more profit, but I want to make a difference. I want to do something with these properties, but I've been shackled by the legalities and illegalities on these properties. The DWP and then the REAP program, which I've been calling him Mr. Shari over a number of months, and he's never returned a single phone call. I'm just trying to meet with people who will help me get this property back on track.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Goldberg.
Come forward and respond to the comments by the speaker.
Yes, my name is Shari Nahimi. I'm the manager of the REAP program, Los Angeles Housing Department. Mr. Flores has received citations from the Systematic Code Enforcement Program for waterproofing, plumbing, gas, water supply, cleanliness, floors and stairways, security bars, and smoke detectors. There's also been an urgent repair program citation on this property. We do understand that there was a lien problem with the Department of Water and Power, but that doesn't affect the habitability issues that are evident with the property. We had a code inspection review, and there's little progress being made on the property.
Would you recommend that this go into REAP today, or would you recommend a 30-day continuance as the property owner has requested?
With respect to Mr. Flores commenting that he hasn't spoken to anyone in the housing department, the analyst has spoken with Mr. Flores on a regular basis. Mr. Flores has also been in contact with the director of the Rent Stabilization Division, and I also have spoken with Mr. Flores. Unless the department sees any progress with respect to the violations being cured, which we haven't seen, I'd like to recommend an inclusion.
Okay. In that case, that will be my motion that we adopt the report as written.
All right, is there any?
The problems are severe, and if you know, if you had said that they had not been able to reach him or hadn't had any contact with him to let him know of the problems, then I would perhaps have reconsidered. But you're assuring me that he has been in contact.
Yes. Just to add 2 other points. One is that at the REAP committee meeting, Mr. Flores had an opportunity to be present and present his case. He also appealed the rent reduction program, and his case was heard before a hearing officer, and the hearing officer denied his appeal.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion, members of council? Open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
It's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Item number 34, you have a card?
Yes, Mr. Howard Watts, item 34. Mr. Watts still here? If not, is there any discussion, members of council? Open the roll, close the roll.
10 eyes.
That matter is approved. Next order.
Item number 37, call special by Councilmember Walters.
All right, first there's a card on that is Mr. Howard Watts. Not the public hearing is closed. The chair recognizes Councilman Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Council members, item number 37, as you can see, is a 10-year lease of office space for the CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency. I thought we had under consideration a melding of this agency with another one, and I'm wondering why, if we are, why we're taking a 10-year lease on office space.
Because it takes 10 years for the council to approve something.
That may be the best answer ever given.
Staff want to
We look at the issue of the consolidation with respect to this particular item. There's a couple of things that were motivating us to move forward. One is our continued commitment to the historic core. We're trying to remain in the Banco Popular, which is, of course, one of the historic core buildings. The second is that we think we got a pretty good deal on the lease. And the third is that in looking at what the potential for consolidation might be, no matter what, we're still going to need to house the people and have the space available. We talked to the landlord about the possibility, if consolidation does go through, of moving additional people into the Banco Popular and perhaps out of wherever they might come from, most likely CDD. And that is a possibility. We could do that. So we do have some flexibility. There is more space available in the Banco Popular than what the agency is occupying. We have cut down the amount of space that we're using because we've been downsizing in staff. And it looks like we'll only be occupying about 4 floors out of 8 over there now. So we do think that we would need at least that much under any set of circumstances going forward into the future, consolidation or not. And so we thought it was a safe bet to recommend the lease.
Thank you, Mr. Malloy. Mr. Chair, I don't know if all the council is comfortable with this. Is Mr. Hernandez is chair of that CED committee. He's not here. A 10-year lease for, there he is.
But the leasing piece, just a point of clarification, if I may. The leasing component, does General Services coordinate with you in this regard? Is this exclusively CRA? They negotiate their own leases absent the General Services Department?
Yes.
I think the point Ms. Walters raises is still one that warrants attention as it relates to what we are trying to do on a go-forward basis. And I didn't hear that there was a pressing or hard deadline at this moment. Is there?
The only thing that's pressing on us right now is that, of course, the landlord wants to know what the answer will be, but we're paying a premium right now.
Yes.
Which is fairly substantial, and we have to keep paying that until we enter into this new lease. So it is costing us some money. Susan?
May I? My name is Susan Totaro, and I'm also with the Redevelopment Agency. Presently, the agency is on a month-to-month lease since October 1998, and pursuant to this current lease that we're engaged in right now, we're paying 25% extra for the rent, which is amounting to approximately $19,000 per month. And so therefore, it's important for us to try and close this transaction. The new landlord is trying to get financing for the building, and he cannot get it without knowing whether we're going to stay there for 10 years.
Well, I appreciate that, but a 25% markup is tantamount to gouging, it seems to me. And if you want a long-term lease, it would seem to me that some consideration might be shown. It does not evidence good faith on the part of the property owner to do that, Mr. Malloy and members of the staff. So it seems to me if they want a long-term tenant, they ought to act in a nurturing way of a long-term relationship. Ms. Walters, my sentiments are similar to yours, and Mr. Hernandez, it'd be interesting to know if we could make sense of this, if we were to review it.
One point.
When did I become the guy overseeing CRA?
Issue.
Yeah, the consolidation issue. What I was going to bring up is what's already going on is there is a task force that Mr. Ridley Thomas and I worked on as part of a leasing agreement with the Community Development Department in regards to their building on 6th and Spring. And part of that task force was supposed to be talking to CRA
Exactly.
about your space, because we were also concerned about the building you were in and trying to coordinate all the city's departments on Spring Street to basically have a coordinated program as to the space they were going to lease and the security agreements and participation in a BID to try and make that whole environment better. But you were supposed to be very much a part of that task force and very much a part of that dialogue. And that's why I'm kind of confused.
We were faced with a situation where our lease has expired. The landlord has agreed to rebate that payment.
Assuming that deal is consummated.
Yes. Correct.
Well, that's an important little piece to add to this.
Yeah.
So now that I have to retract my...
Sorry, I was trying to get it out.
Yeah, but what we're trying to do...
Stand for a while anyway.
Mr. Malloy, what we were trying to do was a comprehensive approach as to the spacing needs of the city and the different departments. And, for example, we wanted to look at the realities of your agency's needs for space based on your manpower currently and projected need for space, economic development within CDD and its manpower needs in regards to space, because they were talking about a 25-year lease for their space. And we were saying someone has to talk to each other so that we have some kind of a combined plan. So I understand where you're at. They're at the same place you're at in terms of their lease. And what they were coming to us was with a 25-year lease, 25 years of a lease, and they're saying we're paying it out of grant funds that included all these improvements that they were demanding and so forth. So this task force was just instructed last month, and it was supposed to report back to us within 60 days. It also included a lot of the collective bargaining units of the city who were expressing major concern about leasing space in the historic core.
Right. Unfortunately, we were rock and a hard place. Our lease had expired last October, and we went forward in good faith to try to get the best deal we could here. That's the situation that we're in.
Right. But do you think you're going to get it passed today?
Chair
I'm just trying to find out what's going to happen now.
Chair recognizes Councilman Walters again. It's you're back up for a second. You want to speak again? Oh, okay. It was on here for a second. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
This reminder is one that, Mr. Malloy, you could take advantage of. So let's continue this and have you have conversation with that task force. Or
Right. Do we have a date that we want to continue this?
Whatever
to?
your pleasure is.
But 1 week would be great. We'll talk to General Services.
Mr. Hernandez, a week from now is budget, isn't it? So maybe you want to do it 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay, without
Thank you.
objection, that'll be continued for 2 weeks. Next order.
Item number 45, called special by Councilmember Miskowski.
No, then, anyone else want, 45 from the roll? Close the roll.
10 eyes.
It's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
You have two special motions on the desk. The first one is presented by Councilmember Fuhr, and the city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Would the
Thank
city
you.
attorney address the findings?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. There's been a series of armed robberies from beginning of March 31st in the area bounded by Melrose 3rd, La Brea, and Kings Road. The Los Angeles Police Department has asked for a reward to assist in the capture of a suspect.
Yeah. Mr. Wentz?
Any objection to the findings? If not, the findings will be approved. The matter is before us. Chair recognizes Councilman Fuhr.
Yeah, no, I just want to say very briefly that the police department is eager for us to post a reward to enable them to get information necessary to capture the people, the person or people who are perpetrating these crimes, and I just urge unanimous support. Unanimous. I'd settle for 8, but unanimity would be better. Yeah. Joel, can we vote?
Okay, open the roll, close the roll.
10 eyes.
It's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Special 2 is a motion presented by Councilmember Goldberg, and she will explain the need to make the findings.
I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to listen to Ms. Goldberg, then I'm going to ask the city attorney whether city attorney can make the findings, because I have a hard time. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, my office was contacted by Senator Boxer, and this legislation is going to be introduced and sent to committee for hearings, and they have asked that early next week, probably before, actually on Monday, and they have asked if I would be willing to introduce this in order to give it support when it goes into its first set of hearings.
I'm going to be really honest, Ms. Goldberg. I'm probably going to support this legislation. I often do, but the fact that it's going to be introduced next week.
No, it's being introduced
and then it's going to be
now.
sent to committee. That
hearings
isn't the rules that we have, I believe, for a special without having any kind of public notice, or, I mean, I think that really hurts our process for special. I don't know, Madam City Attorney, let me ask you,
I thought if it was going to be scheduled for a hearing next week, that's the time we could do that. That's my understanding, is it's going to be heard next.
But the point is that the council or the public has no opportunity to have any input on making a decision on something as a policy matter. And unless there's a reason to bypass that, it's really hard to. Madam City Attorney, help me out here.
All right, what I'm understanding from Ms. Goldberg is that her office was notified, I believe I was told on Monday, they were told on Monday, and the hearing is going to be next Monday. The council would need to make the findings that something happened between the posting of the agenda and this meeting, and that there would be an immediate need to act. It's the council's findings.
Let me ask a question. Can this be heard on Friday? Because I have no objection to delaying it till Friday.
What you can do is bring it in, make the findings, and continue it to Friday.
Okay, because I don't have any objection. I appreciate what you're saying.
If we roll 16, when can it be heard?
Tuesday.
Okay, as I understand it, Ms. Boxer is going to introduce it on Monday, and it's going to go to a committee there in the Congress. I'll have plenty of opportunity for input. I'm going to be the bad guy in this because I think that specials really have to adhere to a set of rules that this just simply doesn't follow.
Joel, I think
Yeah.
that what's missing and what we're not clear about in this discussion is whether the hearing has been set for a time. If she hasn't introduced it yet, the hearing hasn't been set. If she has introduced it and the hearing has been set for a time that doesn't give us time to act, that's different, but that's what I'm not clear about.
And I'm not either, so maybe we could just leave this on the desk till Friday and let me call their office
Well,
and
but
find
that
out if
requires,
that's the issue.
to do that requires making the findings of
Well,
a special.
Ms. Goldberg could bring it in
I'll introduce it
again.
as a special on
She could bring it
Friday.
in.
Yeah, okay. That would be better, because that way we won't run into if we can make it, then we can make it, and if not, we won't have done it without. So that's good. Bring it in as a special then again on Friday.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Before going into closed session, do you want to clear the desk, take up public comments?
Oh, yeah. Doug Kordoff and Larry Ross. Mr. Kordoff.
Doug Kortoff from Seal Beach on behalf of the Wetlands Action Network, here to talk about the Playa Capital project at Playa Vista. The project is going forward in the assumption that you're making, that the project coordinators are making, that everything is fine and that it's going to continue. And this may not be the case. This may be just a fantasy world. there was a lawsuit filed. You know, one of the things that the project does is they continue with construction even though there are lawsuits and permits that have been denied for the project. Now, yesterday there was a lawsuit filed with 4 causes of action asking for relief by Wetlands Action Network, which, you know, may complicate this thing. And I live near the Los Cerritos wetlands, which is 120 acres of the largest, it's the largest functioning wetlands in Los Angeles County. 120 acres wet now, and we are going to add 500 or 600 acres to it. And together with the Hellman property in Seal Beach and down to the National Wildlife Refuge also in Seal Beach and Bolsa Chica will form a tenuous wildlife corridor. The amount of wetlands that's being left at Bolsa Chica is too small to form a viable habitat. So I'd ask you to consider the fact that we are not going to go away. We are going to continue to harass this project and slow it down and stop it until the same thing happens to this project that happened to Bolsa Chica. They will eventually take a settlement of cash money from the Port of Los Angeles to go away. And the entire 1,000-acre project of Playa Vista, which was the Bayona wetlands, the historical riverbed of the Los Angeles River, that entire Bayona wetlands will be restored. Less perhaps some of the areas on the highlands, which are not needed for raptor habitat. And you should consider this, because you're going along thinking that this is going to happen. Now, I went to the Playa Capital town hall. They refused to let me ask the following question, which I think you need to consider. Why couldn't and why can't the city of Los Angeles, for once, look out the windows of this fine building and see something other than the Los Angeles airport and foreign countries? You should be able to see the San Fernando Valley. You should be able to see South Central. Go down to South Central. See what's down there and say, well, we need to take a project like this. Instead of getting jobs for janitors out at Playa Capital out in Marina del Rey, we need to locate this whole darn project in some area that's already been taken out of the system, such as South Central or North Hollywood, and bring real jobs, continuing training programs, and continued commercial activity to an area of the city that the city council has completely ignored and allowed to become degraded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kordoff. Mr. Larry Ross?
Yes, I am Mr. Larry Ross. Is the mic on? Okay. Let me begin by saying once again that Matthew 5:3 informs us, happy are those conscious of their spiritual needs, since the kingdom of the heavens belongs to them. So the scripture clearly acknowledges that true contentment, hopefully you know what the scripture has to say, fulfillment, enjoyment, and happiness comes through developing a good working relationship with the Creator. Therefore and foremost, for life to be meaningful or purposeful, there must be as top priority a good relationship with the grand instructor or creator. Secondly, for life to be meaningful and or purposeful, there must be meaningful goals to aspire to, channels available for expressing of thoughts or expressions of thoughts and ideas, opportunities to pursue meaningful, purposeful, worthwhile and or productive endeavors have to be accessible, and the privilege must be there and open to allow all unrestrainedly those with the necessary qualifications, such as the talents or skills and knowledge or know-how, the freedom to invest said talent, skills, and knowledge or know-how with a strong assurance that whatever shall be brought to fruition shall come from those, shall belong to that one to enjoy as the fruit of one's labor, and acquire additional benefits if that person so desired through or by sharing their talent, skill, and knowledge or know-how with others by choice, not by force. That means that the individual in possession of such beneficial, profitable, or desirable rich resources or assets must feel confidence or safe that what is his shall continue his possession of property, and not the possession or property of another, simply because of race, greed, fraud, defrauding, deceit, material misrepresentation or deception, misuse of authority or number, trespass, lies, and or stealing. Because without such strong, solid assurance, there could be no free flow of thoughts and ideas, which are necessary and are essential to a productive and civilized society. Hence, when there is no respect for life and for the property of another, how civilized could such a society be? Yet the following shall accurately and truthfully inform all hearers of what this nation has allowed to be done to me and mine, especially my 3 sons. Not one, but 3 sons. Trespassing into the thoughts and the privacy of mine, with the results being have stolen ideas, works, and projects. I have gone on to make mention of the fact that DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Channel 7 airing, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11, and Channel 13 have also been mentioned as showing.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
I'm not through yet, Mr.
I know, but we've got more items in there. We're trying to let everybody have a chance to participate.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Joel. Wax. This here is supposed to be a public format, correct? A forum.
Yep.
Where grievances are allowed to be
But there are
voiced.
time limits.
What is the time limit?
Usually it's 10 minutes.
Well, I haven't had 10 minutes.
No, for the number of them, and Mr. Kordoff
How
took
can
up-
how can you limit major issues of grievances and only allow an individual 3 minutes?
Mary,
to
you're here at
voice it?
least 3 times a week.
That's right.
Yeah.
If I'm here 3 times a week, I should be given enough time to say what I have to say.
But there are also other people in the city that want to be
who
heard.
else
Well,
is
Mr.
there?
Kordoff took up a lot.
You have reserved this portion.
Yeah, and I
with
let
my participation in
I
this
let
portion
Mr. Kordoff speak.
to the very last.
I let Mr. Kordoff speak a little bit longer because he hadn't been here before, and you had.
Well, let me say this before I
So-
go. Because I
okay,
will
go
be
ahead.
back- I will be
I'll
back
give you a
next
chance
week.
to wrap it up.
Okay. This intentional cover-up will not succeed. I know of the rumors that you will say I waited too long, or he doesn't know enough, or any other ridiculous, slanderous, defamatory rumor or statements that have been passed around will have to be faced in a court of law, because you have been given enough opportunity to react, to set straight what you have made crooked. But this council member, as well as the board of supervisor, Clinton, former Governor Wilson, has failed to act with courage and with dignity, but most importantly, appropriately, when a wrong has been committed. Therefore, the last result,
Mr. President.
will be.
Mr. President, with all due respect to the speaker,
Thank you,
we
Mr.
need
Ross.
to move the agenda.
Next order, Madam Clerk.
Motions for posting and referral.
All right, those will be posted and referred.
You have excuses on the desk. Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused Friday, May 14th to arrive at 11:30. City Business needs a motion.
All right, that's approved. Will there still be 10 here? Okay.
And also on Monday, the 17th, to arrive at 11:30. City Business meets council policy.
And will those, okay, then that's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
You also have an request from Councilmember Hernandez to be excused Friday, August 20th. Personal business meets council policy.
And I need to be excused on Tuesday, June 8th for city, personal business. Does that meet the? Okay, then that'll be approved, Madam Clerk. And next order, Madam Clerk.
The desk is clear, Mr. President, before closed session.
All right, would the staff prepare the room for executive session, please? Where is he going to? Are we back in open session? All right. Madam Clerk, what's the next item before us?
Items 46 and 47 are to be continued until Friday, May 14th.
All right, that'll be the order. Are there any other
The
items?
desk is clear.
All right, are there adjourning motions? Would the audience and council please rise for adjourning motions? Ms. Chick?
Yes, colleagues, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of the two young people, sister and brother, who were so suddenly and tragically killed in the avalanche in Hawaii. They were the only children of the Johnson family that lives in West Hills. Jennifer, age 24, and her brother Mark, age 29. They were in Hawaii for the occasion of his university graduation, and very, very tragically and suddenly lost their lives in that avalanche.
Ms. Glander?
We adjourn in memory of Rosemary Valere, who died of a brain tumor on Friday, May 7th. She was the co-artistic director of West Side Ballet, a world-renowned ballet teacher. She had danced with the Royal Ballet in England and coached Sleeping Beauty for the American Theater. She was a Mar Vista resident for more than 30 years.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Frances, but most of us knew her as Freddie Payne, who died at the age of 87. She was a labor organizer and an activist working on women's issues for 70 years, beginning when she was 16, when she rallied New York seamstresses to join the International Ladies Garment Workers Union and the Amalgamated Clothing Workers. She had a long, long history of activism. She and her Harvard-educated architect husband, Lyman Payne, were the close associates of C.L.R. James. They were involved with Chinese-American philosopher activist Grace Lee Boggs and African-American writer James Boggs, and they published a newsletter called Correspondence. Later years, they were residents of Lincoln Heights, so I assume that my colleague wants to join me. They focused on community active issues such as the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood and Preservation Association, and I got to know her through the Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park. She was really quite a remarkable woman. I had no idea all of these things, although she did talk about some of them, but she was a wonderful part of the efforts in Elysian Park to save that park, and I guess I always thought she lived in Echo Park, but now I realize she was Lincoln Heights resident. In any case, she had a feisty spirit to the end, and a great many people, including myself, will miss her.
Mr. Hernandez?
I could join on that.
Ms. Kowski?
On behalf of Mr. Holden, I would like the council to adjourn in memory of Julia Watson, who lived in the 10th District for 42 years. She was a devoted homemaker and served countless years actively participating in the local PTA. Through her volunteer efforts, she earned the honorary title of room mother at 59th Street School. And she is survived by 3 daughters, 5 sisters, a brother, and 6 grandchildren.
Mr. Svornich?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Ella Schwartz, who passed away last Saturday at the age of 80 years. She was one of the members of one of the founding families of the community of Torrance, survived by her son Alan. She owned the Sam Levy department store in downtown Torrance for many, many years and was quite active in democratic circles as well as the Jewish Welfare Society. She's a wonderful woman, a patron of many charitable organizations, and she will be missed by all.
I'd like to second that. Call the roll, Madam Clerk. Council's adjourned.